What's up, guys? How's everything going out there? Had a little hiccup there with the countdown, but it went out okay. Hope everybody's doing good tonight. And we don't need Nelson laughing yet. I see Flat for Life out there, and he says he heard the good news. He was the contest winner for those of you who did not see it yesterday afternoon. Flat for Life won an item from Ranty's Pantry. Congratulations, Flat for Life. And I'll contact you and we'll figure out how the heck to order it. So go ahead, pick something out, man. Pick something out, whatever you want from Ranty's Pantry. Here is the link in here one more time, just in case you don't have it. And you can pick it out. Lots of stuff going on tonight on other channels I saw. So I'm expecting that we might have a light night starting off, but we'll see what happens after that. Just got off the phone with Ranty, and he clicked the button today to transfer control of the channel over to me officially. And he says it took him about 2 minutes to actually click the button. I can't blame him. I've never heard of anybody doing anything like that before, but more power to him. He's an awesome guy. That's why I always liked the show, because you could trust Ranty. You knew Ranty had good intentions, and he just proves it again and again in my book. I'm a big fan anyway. Sorry to see him go, but when you got other desires to do other stuff, other passion, and that's one thing. When you spend a lot of time doing Flat Earth, you have to be passionate about it. That goes with anything. Like, I don't have to force myself to want to spend time researching and looking at Flat Earth stuff or anything else I'm interested in. You just naturally want to do it. And if you lose a little bit of that passion, or you get passion for something else, what are you going to do? Force yourself to do it? So he could have walked away and just left it behind or changed it to his other channel, but he wanted to keep the community together and, keep Flat Earth strong, especially in this time slot. He knows we don't have too many forums. He knows that we have constant trouble with YouTube. It's hard to build another channel. So that was pretty awesome of him all around. And I certainly appreciate it. But anyway, enough about that. If you do want to support the show on Streamlabs, there is a link that I'm going to pop in here. And you can click on that, and it'll take you to the donation page. Relatively easy to do, and it's appreciated. If you really want to support the show, you can come on and give us a presentation. Tell us about something. Show some new clips, evidence, links. Gotten some good stuff lately from Ian Adams and some other folks. Rhett Priestley sent me something interesting. I've got one thing I'll show you today. One of the watchers, is that the right name? I don't know. Somebody sent me regarding that airplane photo that I've been bringing up lately. So that's cool. Smurfer Girl Whatevs came on, gave a presentation yesterday. That was awesome. So anything you can do like that is awesome. Anyway, let's shout out to everybody in the chat. We've got Ian Adams, Brian Mabbott, Smurfer Girl Whatevs, Dagon Morningstar, Hector Ram, Hobbs, Josh the Flat Earth Jedi, Flat for Life, SC Montreal, Bill G, YouTube, Nick, and Allie B, and page 42. Pretty good crowd to start off with, guys. Hope everything's going good tonight. Let's see. We've got a bunch of people in the Discord too, and I see lights lighting up. So maybe there's a heated conversation. Why don't we pop in there and see? Every time I say that, it turns out that nobody says anything, but we'll see if it works this time.
Can't even explain what they're meant to be talking about.
It's unbelievable the way he was describing, like one line and then to the point, but then from that point it has to go down because the earth is curved. It's like, wow. Wow.
It's insane. It's manifest insanity. It's delirium. They've gone over the edge.
Yeah. It's insanity. I mean, that's the only
anything to not accept the truth. They're wrong and they know it.
When Gods was talking to him at the end, and he did the he was sort of explaining the two models that he had, and he explained one of them with A, B, and C, and he explained that the first one, that the vertical would be parallel to the horizontal here, and here the vertical would be perpendicular to the horizontal, and A, B, and C, and that's the flat model, and that's how it works. And I was thinking, yeah, that sounds good. I mean, I'll go along with all of that. And then he goes to the other model, and the first line he draws, he's going up, pointing up into the air, and he says that's a horizontal. It's like, that doesn't look very horizontal. And he kept saying this one's pointing up and this one's pointing down, and it's like, that's a horizontal. And where does up and down come with a horizontal with each end? How can one end be higher or lower than the other end? It just doesn't make any sense at all.
You know what killed me, Bev? When he said, well, yeah, I have a demonstration of plumb lines being different. And then he whips out a picture of Jupiter or Saturn or something.
When he said that he's invited me to do a test, it was one night while he was on Twitter, and he said, you're invited to come along and dangle a plumb bob in your back window or whatever and take a picture of it. It's like, what is that?
It's ludicrous, bro. It's ludicrous.
Can I just cut in here just for a second, Rob? I just want to apologise for cutting you off earlier when we were over on Emma's server. I just wanted to keep Plato of Bane on point, and I didn't want him distracted from what was going on between him and Bev. So I'm sorry for cutting you off, mate. Didn't mean to, but I just wanted to keep it on point. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, if you're gonna hang out with Primate, get used to
it.
What's up, guys? We're live.
What up, Brandon?
There was no need to apologize.
Hey, Brandon.
How you guys
No
doing
need.
tonight? We got a full crowd in here to start off the
Appreciate.
show. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there, Rob.
Rob's used to being. Bless him.
Par
He
for the
needs
course.
another mic. He needs a mic with a boom or a pop as he lights it up.
Yep.
Let's see who we got in the channel. We'll go in reverse order for once. Domesticated Primate, what's up, man?
Yeah, how you doing, Brandon? Nice to be back again.
Oh,
Seems
yeah.
to be like a second home over here at the moment.
Good.
Yeah, enjoying it, mate. Enjoying it.
Awesome. Right the hand. What's going on?
Yeah,
What
nothing
up?
much. Jeremy's the hand.
All right. SC Montreal, what's up, man?
Hey, good evening, Brandon. And a big congratulations, bro, for your new acquisition. Couldn't have happened to a better guy. And shout out, Ranty. You're a class act, bro.
Absolutely. Thank you, SE. Yep. I
I guess
agree.
you
I was
could
just
say
saying that during the
the new-
intro.
Toy.
What's that?
I guess we could say Brandon has a new toy.
Oh my, whoa.
Good one.
Good one, he says.
Add it to the pantry, bro.
Oh no. Let's not go down that road. I see where that's headed, SE. You're gonna add toys to the pantry, huh? Rob Keane. What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Rakia. Oh, there he is. What's up, man? Oh, no audio.
Been a good week.
Good. Ranty Flat Earth in the house. What's up, man?
Yo,
We got
how's
Lemon.
it going?
Good. Lemon Bird.
It's so good to be flat.
It is. I agree. Paige. Oh, she's on deafen. Hello. Emma UK, aka Merry Effin' Christmas.
Evening, Brandon.
Good evening, Jimbo.
Hey, and guess what? I posted a picture from the Carleton University in the stairwell that the Foucault's pendulum was pushed from by the good professor because the mortar didn't work. What a joke. But anyway, I put it in the general chat if ever anyone wants to check it out. It's comical.
I'll
These
bring that
frauds.
up. I will bring that up in a minute. Sounds interesting. Jeremy.
What's up? I've been ruining them over at Gems on the Foucault pendulum for days now. Just killing them on it. There's no way. I'll tell you later.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll bring that picture up. You can tell us what your argument is. Gently's channel. What's up, Gently? F Evangelist.
Hey, Brandon. How are you?
Good, man. How are you? How is it down there?
Yeah, it's good. I'm just super busy at work, so I'll kind of listen a lot and say not much.
All righty. Cleary.
Hey, man, I thought this was Ranty's Pub. What is this, Brandon's Hub now?
Something like that. Brian Mabbott.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir.
And Bev Try Thinking.
That's the place to be now here, Brandon.
Hell yeah. Good place to be. Allie B. Allie, you there? We'll come back to him. All right. So you got a picture for us, huh, Jimbo? Let's see what this is all about. Might as well start off with this. You said in general. I don't see it.
Yeah,
there,
she's a few minutes ago in the general chat, and it's from a hallway view and a little article on this pendulum here in Ottawa that doesn't work, that was pushed by stick for years from a few floors up.
Yeah, I want to see this thing. I don't see it in the general, though.
Is my mic working now, yeah?
Oh, there you are,
I don't see
Allie.
it either.
All right, yeah. How you doing, guys?
What's up? Maybe you put it in a different channel, Jimbo. And I don't see it. So, well, he's looking for that. Jeremy, so what's your argument that you're killing with the ballers with on Foucault? Did you see
Here's what.
Smurfers Girls presentation last night?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you should check it out, man. Yeah, she talked about the Foucault for like an hour.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go back. I was on last night's show. I have to go back and check it out. But my argument is that the Foucault pendulum is we're seeing the Coriolis effect happen through its precession. They say this is the Coriolis effect. Now the Coriolis effect is a deviation that's supposed to happen from you changing your tangential velocity. You need to change latitudes or height in order for this to happen. So the pendulum swinging back and forth, ever so slowly changing its latitude every so often, giving you the Coriolis effect and the precession. However, the precession doesn't vary at all. It will vary on latitude from pendulum to pendulum, but the same pendulum's precession at a specific latitude won't vary. Now, if this is the Coriolis effect, it should vary because at some points the pendulum's swinging east-west, and at other points the pendulum is swinging north-south, which would give you a different deviation in the Coriolis effect. That's all.
Well, the Coriolis is a visual effect, and it can't affect the movement of a pendulum. You would have to be spinning around the pendulum, and that would be what caused the visual movement. But yeah, the Coriolis is observational.
I'm just using the baller's argument against him. That's all.
Well, I'm using the professors pushing on this cord several times a day without people knowing as, the Coriolis or Earth spin or whatever you want to call it. But anyway, it's posted back there now.
Where did you post it, Jumbo?
In general.
You know what? I don't know what's with that link. I clicked it and I get a 404 error, Jimbo.
Hold on.
Okay.
Let me post it right there. Click on you and post it to you.
Okay.
Also, if you're in the inertial reference frame viewing the motion, it is real. You can see it if you're on a roundabout.
Yeah, there's two things we got to separate here. One is the Coriolis is a visual effect, and they're describing an actual rotation of something. These are two different things, which they conflate, and they get wrong all the time. Because the Coriolis is visual. It cannot affect so much as a fly.
Well, I see. I'd like to disagree with you there, because if you're on a roundabout and you toss the ball up, if you're on a roundabout and you toss the ball up, it's not going to come down in the same spot with the roundabout spinning. It's going to land in a different spot. That's how you're going to get your Coriolis.
We're not talking about that. The actual description of the Coriolis is when when something is spinning like the roundabout, right? And you throw a ball. So that ball is traveling in a straight line, but the people underneath the spinning part, these are the people that actually see this Coriolis effect. It's not actual.
It's actual to the people in the non-inertial on the spinning roundabout. It's real to them.
No, it's never actual.
It's never real to them. No, it's a visual effect, bro.
You can plot
you
it
got
over
that
the
wrong,
roundabout.
Jeremy. Sorry, man, but you got it wrong.
No, yeah, I know, but you can plot coordinates from the ball to the roundabout, and you can see that it actually is deviating underneath it.
No,
incorrect, Jeremy. No, you can't. You can't show it. It's a visual effect, bro.
The coordinates will not. So if you if the merry-go-round is not moving, right, and you throw the ball, and the observer on the merry-go-round, right, he sees the ball. Now you take that ball's direction and coordinates, and then you spin the man looking at it. The coordinates won't change on the ball, but he will see a completely different thing. So.
Yeah, there's no way around that, Jeremy. Sorry, man. It's a visual effect.
The thing is, they're treating it like it's a physical effect where something is being affected on a physical level. Like when you throw the ball in the merry-go-round and you're inside the merry-go-round with the person across from you inside the merry-go-round or whatever, you throw the ball, it will still go on a straight path, but the straight path will be deflected from what it would be without the spin of the merry-go-round. So there has been a deflection, but it's just a straight path. It looks curved, and there has been a deflection, but it's actually a straight path.
Right. The deflection is actually the people turning, not the ball.
So the deflection is caused by the wind going against the spinning system, and it's a straight path. It just looks curved. So it has a visual effect, but an actual physical force that has deflected the ball in a straight path from its path, which would otherwise go straight across the merry-go-round.
Not really. The force is just you throwing the ball. There's no force. You just threw the ball, and the ball is traveling in a straight line.
It's not going straight across because you're trying to throw it straight across the merry-go-round, and it's being deflected in a straight path off to the side. So there was physical deflection, and it looks curved like a curved path to you within the merry-go-round. So there's a visual effect and a physical deflection.
No,
it's only going straight.
Incorrect.
It's only going straight for the people that are in the inertial reference frame. If you're in the non-inertial reference frame, it's curving. There's a deviation.
It's not. It's appearing.
You can see it happen. You can see it happen.
No, you can't. It appears to you that way because you're turning. But if you look at it from a different perspective, that ball is traveling in a straight line, bro.
Yes,
that's
from the
ballers. That's where they make their mistake.
From the inertial frame, there's no deviation. But if you are on the non-inertial frame, there is deviation.
No, bro. It appears to deviate. It appears
to be curved. It's an actual straight path that has been deflected from its normal straight path straight across the merry-go-round.
No,
the path
incorrect.
Is straight, but it curves because you're spinning on the non-inertial reference frame. It's not going straight for you because you've moved underneath it.
Yeah, but the ball, if you were on the ball, Jeremy, if you were, let's do a thought experiment. If you were on that ball traveling, right?
Plot the course of the ball. Plot the ball's course.
That's right.
Now
plot the vector.
Now observe the plotted course. Does the plotted course change?
And the answer is no.
Compared to the people in the non-inertial reference frame.
No, not bro.
Because the ground's moving path of the ball. People, so the path changes.
The path of the ball. There's only one path of the ball. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
You get that? If you throw a ball, it only has one path. It can't take 15 paths. It only takes one path. Do we agree?
The ball takes one path. Yep.
Okay. Now 10 people observe that one path.
Well,
right?
Are they in the inertial or non-inertial reference?
You're saying word salad.
Not word salad.
Inertial reference word salad. That's word salad. You have people observing this ball.
That's not word salad.
What is an inertial reference frame? Then what is it? What's an inertial reference frame?
So it's compared to the non-inertial reference frame. It's the one that's not moving or moving at a different speed. The non-inertial one.
What is a reference frame? What is a reference frame?
A point from which you view motion.
Oh, so like an observer.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have 10 observers looking at the one path of the ball. How many different paths of the ball are there?
There's one path of the ball. However, if you're spinning,
even though there's 10, even though there's 10 observers, aka whatever else you want to call them.
Yeah, one pass of the ball. Yeah. However, the
Yeah, exactly. So you have one now. If you take one of those observation
let me know when I
points
can get a sentence.
and you move, yeah, because you're getting schooled. When you take one of those observation points and move it, and it observes the continuous non-changing path of the ball, that's what you would describe as quote unquote Coriolis. What it is a moving observation point. The path of the ball never changes. That's why the plotted path of the ball will not change regardless of how many different observers, aka reference frames, aka whatever word else you want to put in it, you have.
Okay, pretend you're on the roundabout and you draw a straight line on the roundabout. And then I throw the ball over that straight line. Go in the straight line to the people on the roundabout, and you're going to be able to see it because it's not going to go with that straight line because the roundabout is spinning underneath the ball. So
Jeremy's not. So you just ignore.
So did you not understand what I said, or did you not understand what I said?
You're not responding to what I said. How many paths?
I don't give a fuck what you said, dude. You're delusional.
Exactly. You're not here
fucking
to have an intelligent conversation. You're just here to spew.
It goes in one path. The thing is, you're being brought closer to the path and away from the path, and that's being interpreted optically by your eyes as a curve.
Yes.
But the path is straight.
Now you got it. Exactly.
Ding, 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 ding.
Exactly, bro.
And the path is being deflected because normally it would go straight across the merry-go-round, but now it's going straight
you're curving off again
at a deflected angle.
Lemon's right. Lemon's right.
Oh, he's not right.
It's not going in. I told you could draw a line on the roundabout. Spin the roundabout. Try to throw the ball over the line. It won't go in a straight line because it's spinning underneath you. You're spinning underneath the ball.
I see where you got it wrong. Okay, hold on.
Jeremy,
I see where he's got it, where he's mixed up. Jeremy, take a string, put a ball on it, right? And start spinning it, right? It's going in a circle, right? Now, when you let it go, what happens to that? What trajectory, what vector does it take?
If you let go of the string?
Yeah, you let go of the ball. It's on a string, it's turning, and you let it go. What vector does it take? Does it go in a straight line or does it curve?
A hammer thrower.
It goes in a straight line, Jeremy. I'll put the video in the chat.
So there it is.
It has to go in a straight line because a straight line is the shortest distance between 2 points, and without any other fuel source or effect, a static object being thrown will go in a straight line because it's taking resistance.
If I take a magic marker and draw a straight line on the roundabout and then try to throw the ball over, you think the ball's going to go in that straight line?
Okay, but that's
No, it will be deflected. It will still go in a straight line, but it will go in a deflected straight line that will not go in the straight line that you mark. That's the deviation. A straight line deviation, but a deviation, yes.
Yes.
So
no, from the moment you let go of that ball, Jeremy, it will travel in a straight line.
There will be no deviation in the coordinates of the path of the ball. There would be no change in those. You could plot
absolutely
those
none.
The paper, and you can observe that course from 1,000 different observation points. It will never change the coordinates in that plotted path. You're just arguing against that right now. So
that's false. You can look at the video. It goes in a straight path deviation. It's deviated, but in a straight path off to the side. It doesn't go straight across the merry-go-round because of the wind resistance. So if you have resistance from some other frame coming against the spinning system, it's going to be deflected.
Why don't we let Jimbo
Lemon, get off of it, bro. Get off of it.
Why don't we let Jimbo tell us about these the Foucault pendulum here, what he's got going on?
Well, I'm sharing my screen right now. Let me just try to understand what the disagreement is. Do we all agree on this definition here? The Coriolis? Just ignore the title.
Coriolis is some sort of spinning deflection. The disagreement is whether it's just a visual deflection with no physical thing to go with it, and or is it physical as well?
Well, I mean, it's defined as just visual from the ball's perspective, right? The ball goes straight. If you were looking at it from space, the ball would look straight, or the non-inertial reference frame, the ball goes straight. The whatever the surface underneath spins. If you're on the actual spinning object looking at the ball, it's going to look like the ball curves away, but the ball's not curving at all. It's still going in a straight line, right? Just
But
like
the
this little
straight
graphic
If
here.
you drew a line on the,
I put the video in the
Brandon,
chat. You can see the straight line path, but it is deflected off to the
Brandon,
side.
if you drew a
I
straight
put
line
the
on the
hammer
ground,
throwers video in the chat.
Brandon, if you drew a straight line on the ground and then threw the thing, it wouldn't go in the straight line. I'm not saying this happens on Earth. I'm just saying, and in the roundabout example or the fantasy spinning globe example, if you were to draw a line on Earth and you threw the ball straight or shot a bullet or whatever, the bullet wouldn't follow that path. Deviation's
Bro,
real
the
from
moment you let
non-inertial-
go of that ball when you're spinning, it travels in a straight line, bro. You got to understand that.
Yes, in your example, yes, but that's not the same.
In
thing
all
as
examples, pick a ball, tie a string to it tomorrow, and see wherever
Yes,
you let
it
it
still
go
goes
at
in
the
a straight
point
That's
path.
of
not the same
release.
thing, though.
So what is your
It's not the
example,
same thing,
Jeremy?
Jesse.
If the bullet will go, if that would go in a straight line, theoretically, if you're on the merry-go-round and shoot it, what is your example?
Yes, if you're on the merry-go-round, you draw a straight line across the roundabout on the ground on the floor of the roundabout, and you throw the ball. You try to throw it straight over the line to make the ball go straight. The ball is actually going to deviate for the people in the non-inertial reference frame because the ground is spinning underneath. The straight line is going to spin.
Yeah. But
You're
the ball's
deviating,
actually
bro.
going
Don't
in a
you get
straight
that,
line.
man?
Hold on. The ball
You're
is
the-
actually going in a straight line, just like this graphic here that I'm showing. The ball
ball's going in a
always
straight line,
is
but-
always going in a straight line. It's just a matter of
But
where
for the
you view it from. If you're on the rotating reference frame, then it's gonna look like it curves away, but it's not curving. It's going straight.
But if from the inertial reference frame, it will go straight. Yes, but if you're on the non-inertial reference frame spinning, it's not going to go straight because you're spinning underneath the ball.
But Jeremy, that's what you're missing, I think. In absolute terms, the ball is always going in a straight line, no matter where you are.
And that's because we're appealing to the absolute inertial reference frame. So we have a bit of confusion here because we're being brought closer and further away from the spinning ball in the spinning reference frame because we're spinning with the ball's path. And so that is interpreted visually as a curve. The question is whether the spinning system is coming up against a non-spinning system and there is deflection because of it. And there does appear to be a straight path deflection of the ball off from its path, which would be different from if the merry-go-round was not spinning, where it would just go straight across. The same amount of energy put into that same ball, now that it's in a spinning system against a non-spinning system, it's deflected in a straight path, yes, but it's still deflected off to the side.
Now that I agree with
you guys
Lennon, but
don't
that's
get
a
it,
different. That is a different situation. Theoretically, taking all these other variables out it, because this would have to be in a vacuum, I believe, for the ball to go exactly in a straight line, or there'd have to be very little resistance. But yes, if there is an atmosphere per se, and we were actually on a rotating Earth, the atmosphere would impact the object. It wouldn't go in a straight line. It would be deviated because of wind resistance and stuff, which is what I think you're saying, Lemon.
But there would be no deviation from.
Do we witness this anywhere on Earth?
No, that's the bigger point. Yeah.
No one's advocating that it's really happening on Earth, I don't think.
So whatever the effect is, we don't witness it.
Not Earth-based
Only on
Coriolis. No,
roundabouts.
only constructed
roundabouts.
artificially, or I can't think of a
Or
natural
even explain
situation.
the Coriolis with a water going down a drain. Water will go down the central drain with one swirl in one direction, and then toward the outer edges of that water, you'll get counter whirls. There's your Coriolis right there. They're just trying to explain it with a spinning Earth in the paradigm of a spinning Earth to explain that. But you could explain that with, space itself moving or ether swirling or some sort of other paradigm.
Yes, Lemon, but if we witness that, how would planes ever reach their destination if their destination keeps moving?
If the Earth was moving, yeah, that wouldn't make sense. But if you have, air, space itself moving over and around and through us in a general direction, you could still have Coriolis swirl while stuff is just basically not moving or deviated very little, if at all. There's other ways to explain this.
But we don't witness it.
So let me go back to Jeremy. Jeremy, do you agree with now that we've discussed it, or is there still part of this that I'm missing. You're saying it would deviate from the rotating reference frame, but you understand that's just a visual effect, and the ball is not actually curving like that.
Yes, the ball's traveling in a straight line. Yes, I've never said otherwise.
Okay,
But
all
for
right.
the people spinning, it's a very real deviation. No, because you would see it happen. You could put, like I said, you could draw the line on the ground, and they would see it curving. You throw the ball straight, it curves. It's a real deviation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
For
if it
those
was
people.
happening, would chemtrails be curved?
You'd think that they would be, but the thing is, you can still have a straight path of the ball that's deflected. It's just going off to the side and veering at an angle. It's still a straight path. Looks curved within the rotating reference frame. Outside, it looks straight, but it's still a straight path that's cocked and deflected off to the side because of wind resistance, because the spinning reference frame is coming up against an inertial wind that is not spinning.
Yeah, that's a different issue in my mind between the one that Jeremy's talking about. But I will have to disagree with you, Jeremy. I know what you're saying, but the ball is not It is not deflecting. It is not going in a curve. They're moving. That person would be moving in that situation.
Yes, the ball's going in a straight line. Yes, but in the inertial reference frame. But when you're spinning underneath it, you, like I said, you can't throw the ball in a straight line anymore because you're going to be spinning underneath it.
Yeah, it would appear to them that the ball is going in a curved line, but the ball is never deviating. It's always going in a straight line. It's them that's
the ball
deviating.
always goes in a straight line. Yes.
Yeah,
This is why it makes it pretty easy to talk about things simply, right? You have the ball, you have the observers, right? Now, when you throw the ball has a path. It follows that path. Now, if you take an observer and you spin that observer, it will never change the path of the ball. He might see something that appears like the ball is disappearing because he's spinning his back to it. That doesn't mean the ball is disappearing or stops moving. It just means that particular observer has had a unique observation. So just very simple. Don't need to add reference frames and inertial and all this. The only thing moving would be the ball and then possibly an observer.
Yeah, and the thing is, they haven't asked what is the observer doing relative to this thing to change the way that they would view it. If you're spinning, you're going to impart, spinning and curve to the path, whether or not the thing's actually moving or not. They just, dissolve into this haze of confusion to make the ball possible without saying, well, is this thing really following this path or not? And what is the best reference frame, if any, to give us the most, feasibility? Because we're always referring to the inertial reference frame anyway. So why don't we start with that instead of going with this reference frame or this reference frame? It's just getting confusing.
It is confusing. It's got to be one of the most confusing things we talk about, especially when people start talking about reference frames. Well, as soon as I hear the word reference frame, I just want to barf. Because
we don't really need it, Brandon. We can say it in the simple terms. Look. One thing is spinning, right? Witnessing something that is not spinning, traveling in a straight line. We don't need to use no reference frames, no fancy jargon, no nothing.
Yeah, instead of non-inertial, you can just say spinning, and inertial, you can say not spinning.
Exactly. They use magic words to try to confuse us. And what's inertial, what's non-inertial? No, you don't need that stuff.
Yeah, good point. All right, well, that was a good little... healthy disagreement to start off with. Let me bring up Foucault pendulum picture from Jimbo. So Jimbo, what are we looking at here, man? You there, Jimbo? Maybe checked out on us. All right, we'll come back to that.
Like the procession, if you put a Foucault on a sorry, did you want to go?
No, go ahead. Or? Go ahead, Jeremy. You can.
If you were to put a Foucault on a merry-go-round or roundabout, you would see the procession on the roundabout because that's what's supposed to happen. It's due to the Coriolis effect, the deviation. The deviation is, that's just what happens if you put a Foucault pendulum on a roundabout. You can see the procession of it because of the deviation.
Only if the base is rotating, pivoting on the center of the roundabout, would you get that effect.
You don't get it anywhere else if you tried to put the Foucault on the side of it. Or I've only seen it in the I don't know if I've seen it.
It
On the side or
cannot
not.
possibly work on the side of anything that's rotating, a sphere or a flat plane rotate. It cannot work because
Only on the axis.
it is all traveling eastward and not rotating.
I'd have to look into that. You could be right.
I've got a video. I'll put it up.
He's definitely right there.
Just don't lose sight that they think that a pendulum is antipodal to the other pendulum and is doing the same thing if it's on the same line of latitude, I believe it is, or longitude. But you know, it's all wizardry. There is no pendulum on the other side of the ball doing the same thing. It's just not.
Shout out Smurfer Girl for she did a good presentation yesterday.
Yeah, what do you know? What do you know? There's ways to explain things with the things that we actually see, which is electromagnetism, static, you know, all types of things like that we actually observe and can replicate. But you know, they're trying to use wizardry and say it's something else. It's just not. Don't let it get to you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Jimbo, you there again? We'll try. What's that, Mark or Brian?
I've posted that video of the Foucault's pendulum on the pole. That is the only place it could possibly have the base rotating to get the effect that they say it does. On the side, it is all traveling in a linear momentum.
Yeah.
So it's not. You got.
Help us understand this a little more, Brian. Maybe explain why that is, because I saw that some ballers latched onto that and were giving it comments. And to be honest with you, I really don't understand it. I didn't want to get too much into it last night. But why is it that it would only do that at the axis?
It needs the base to rotate because they say the pendulum is just swinging backwards and forwards. So the base has to rotate. Now, if they've got this mounted in a museum, that means the floor of the museum must rotate. The building must rotate for it to give that effect. And anything that isn't on the pole is not rotating. It is all traveling eastwards, allegedly, in their model.
I mean, that's an illustration. I thought you had one of an actual roundabout. I've seen them on an actual roundabout before. I just can't remember if it was on the axis or off to the side.
I was going to do. One of my contractors has got one of these turntables that they wrap pallets of stuff up. And I was going to ask them, see if I could do a little test, moving it to the outside of that rotates, because it only goes quite slowly.
Yeah, that'd be good if you could do one, you know, off on the edge of it, and then do one, you know, in the axis, the rotational center of it. Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, well, the base isn't rotating then, is it? As soon as you take it off the central point, the base is not rotating.
Because Kosho used to like that thing when there's two guys sitting at a table across from each other, and I don't know what they're using, like a hockey puck or something, and they fling it, and he's like, look, this is how hurricanes work, but it's right at the axis of rotation. It's right at the axis. And
exactly, and that's the only place it can work. When the pivot point of the pendulum is directly above the rotation axis.
What would happen? What would the pendulum do if you were, say, away from the axis?
I've never tried it, mate, but what I assume it would do would have a biased or a curved path because of it swinging outwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it would I think I understand.
And I think as it goes to the north-south type arrangement, then it would just go, it'd probably go all over the place.
Yeah, I can't find the video now. I saw it so long ago. The guy actually was on a roundabout, and he had one on there. I can't find it.
All they are is a mind trick to convince us all about this ludicrous spinning ficking ball they tell us we live on.
Yeah, no, I agree with. I think we are all in agreement with that for sure. I've never bought into the pendulum. I've even tried it at my house. although it wasn't the most high caliber attempt. I couldn't get it to work at all. I don't think it does. Unless you are pushing it, like what I assume is in Jimbo's picture and was described last night, having someone push the pendulum or have something push the pendulum, and it just seems silly.
Yeah, they keep these big pendulums. They keep these in rotation using I don't know what they use, magnets or some kind of a motor or something.
Yeah. You should watch last night's show.
Uses magnets.
Smurfer Girl talked about the different ways.
Any mechanical device or magnetic device, it could be arranged to give them precession, couldn't it?
Right.
Absolutely,
down to the
yeah.
last degree.
Absolutely. If you just have it off a little bit each time, that could be the precession right there. There's other problems with it. There's many problems with it. The point it's connected to, the pivot point, the materials they use are actually, lead's not magnetic, but it is affected by a magnetic field.
Yeah, it's diamagnetic.
You got electrostatics. Yeah, you got.
It doesn't even have to be on that end of the pendulum. They could have a vertical going above that and affect that. I mean, there's hundreds of ways of making it precess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't take much to put that out of alignment, make it go one way or the other, introduce bias into it. And how do you ensure that you've eliminated that bias? So it proceeds as you expect. How do you know that it's not bias causing it to do that?
Thinking about it, it could be just the weight itself could be more curved one side than the other.
Yeah, there's so many flaws with it. You would never know if you had everything ironed out perfectly, precision engineered. It could be the way the magnetic field is on Earth, and the lead is just who knows.
If you look at a crown green bowl, you would think it's perfectly sized either side, but it's not. They actually calibrate them, and they machine one taper slightly sharper than the other to give them the curve.
Cleary says Jeremy is a globe head $2. All right.
Very funny, Cleary.
Mark Taylor says the Google Foucault pendulum at the pole. I guess I will humor him and do that.
Tell him it's the only place it would work.
Yeah, I think it went the wrong way as far as I know the story of that one. They did it and it went the wrong way. So
did it?
Yeah.
South Pole or
North
Pole?
There's no South Pole.
Yeah.
Jesus, what the fuck?
But the North Pole's in the water now, isn't it?
Yeah, that would be the other problem. There isn't an actual stationary North Pole, is there? It moves all over the place.
Oh, I can't find a good link for this, Mark. Maybe you can link it in the Discord if you've got a good link to what you want us to look at.
If anyone listening can find the YouTube video of the guy with the Foucault pendulum on the roundabout, that might be good to look at.
Taking back Eden FE, think there could be a North Magnetic Mountain. Anybody care to respond to that?
Mount Moreau.
Magnet Mountain. Get in.
All the compasses point that way, or they point south, and they've just put a little bit of red paint on the opposite end. Who knows?
Our huge metal sheets placed precisely at different points on this plane to control magnetism and other effects, move the sun, etc. It's a mechanical design. The iron is out there.
Jimbo, what did you want to say about these guys with the Foucault?
Well, the ones in Ottawa here is a definite fraud. And, if I found out you were deceiving people like that for, as long as you were, I'd fire your ass.
Those damn Canadians, Jimbo.
Screw these people with their babble and their pseudoscience and pseudophysics. Get them out.
Well, I don't think they consider it fraud. I think they're just taking what they say would happen at this, position on Earth because of the rotation of the Earth.
No, when pushing
you
that
cut me
stick
right
every
off,
day,
man.
several times a day to mislead people, you're a fraud.
I was agreeing with you, and if you
Yeah,
wouldn't have cut
sorry.
me off like a baller.
Yeah.
But what they're doing is setting this
Passionate.
up to show the public what they say would happen. You know, so them themselves, they don't even think it's a fraud, right? They know, they gotta know, right, that they're adjusting it with these magnets. They even tell you they're adjusting it. You know, if it doesn't process the right way, they'll tweak it and do this and do that until it does. I actually talked to 3 different universities that did the Foucault pendulum or do it as a yearly project, and the people that I talked to openly said that it's really hard to get the right procession. Like it, you know, it's just like the, you know, all the other tests.
So
prove that this pendulum moves in a certain.
oh, you're roboting, I think, right there. But Jimbo, so this is just a little context here. This is at this college, right? Carleton University.
Yep, just down the road from me. Yep.
And this is the one that Smurfer Girl whatevs was saying that the guy pushed, or maybe you said that last night. He actually,
yes, he went up in those staircases, several floors up, like from where the photo's taken, and was pushing it with a stick several times a day.
How long did he do that for?
I don't know. It might be written how long he did, however long he had to.
Since it's been built.
How do you get that job? One of your other duties is to take this stick and push on the pendulum every 3 hours.
And he's one of our grand masters of physics, and people throw themselves at his feet for his fraud. Give me a break.
This guy's got like entourage or what? What are you saying? He's got groupies?
Well, he was the poster child of our National Research Council.
Oh, he's like a bigwig. Okay.
Yeah. He spearheaded this and that. Spearheaded, you know, all these great accolades, eh? To have to push on a pendulum to falsify that the Earth is spinning. What a fraud.
That is some fraudulent ass shit. You should just report your findings as they come and say, oh, well, guess what, guys? It doesn't match up here in Canada or wherever they are. So let's rethink this thing. No, you can push on it with a stick for the next 50 years or however long they've been going.
Does it say in here somewhere that he pushed this thing with a stick, or did they leave that out?
Well, you might want to just email Smurfer Girl, find out what she says, because she's the one who mentioned he was pushed. There she is.
I'm
Hi,
here.
Smurfer Girl.
Hey,
Was he the one
yeah.
pushing it with a stick?
Yeah. Remember, I read that part last night. They said that he was so impeccable, whatever, with his timing on it, that no one even knew how that it was even happening. I guess he kept it a secret. It's in that article. That article you're reading, you're scrolling through, is the one that I actually used.
Oh, okay. What's this right here? What's this doing in here?
It's an absolute fraud.
You guys see what's in here? The square and compass? Is this some? Why is that there?
Yeah, I saw that.
Just
That's
random
a link
square and
to
compass.
the PDF, I think, of the entire the blueprints of it.
Oh, the staircase. Oh, okay. So you can build one at home if you want, if you have a 4-story house.
You got to push on it with a stick 3 times a day, or
It comes with the stick. They sell a kit.
it comes with just.
Cool. All right. Well, that's interesting, Jimbo. That's not what I had pictured when she mentioned it.
No, but it's just one that's a 100% fraud from the get-go.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
just one of them.
Did they find this guy out and now they know the real procession, or what's going on with it now?
They're probably still licking his heels and toe jam.
They still got the stick
He's
out.
a great one. I mean, he's got his FUD, his PhD. He's National Research Council. He's all these great things. He's just
Well, if he's
that
got a
good.
PhD, I mean, then yeah.
All right. It was 55 feet up. 6 stories, 5 stories.
I wonder if there's a pendulum pushing stick on eBay.
Oh my god!
I can sell you one. It's expensive, Brian, but I'll get you a very good deal.
They're called
Well, the other
Hefner
one-
sticks.
the one from Louisville, it says that once in a while they'll have to push it with a stick on theirs too, with a 2x4, something like that. I don't know. I found the little paragraph that says it. It says for a short study period in the fall of 1970, after initial construction, the pendulum had no drive circuit and was kept in motion by Mr. Hafner, imparting a push with a 2-meter stick while leaning over the stair railing several floors up several times a day. Apparently, no one was aware of this initial power source, given its reliable nature.
That could sway it, one way or the other. I've heard when they let these things
sway
go,
it. That's good.
I've heard when they let these things go, they have a rope tied to it, and then they burn the rope so that there's no no one interferes with it going either way.
Right. That's how Foucault himself is said to have done it, like pulling it back and tying it with the string, and then waiting for all the vibration to be gone, and then burning that with a candle.
Yeah, that way you don't interfere with it going one way or the other. Yeah, you can't be pushing it with a stick. Jesus.
Right. But they don't mention that made the procession off or anything at all. That's not even a factor.
Taking Back Eden FE, nose in the center of face contains magnetite. I'm not exactly sure what that means. Nose in center of face contains magnetite. Huh. Yeah, explain that a little bit more. Taking Back
Talking
Eden.
about Mount Meru in the North Pole. I don't know.
Magnetite is a magnetic sort of mineral. It's found in animals that migrate and do geolocation or whatever to know where to migrate. I didn't know that the human nose had magnetite. I thought that it was like in birds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe we have it too.
Yeah, we do.
Even a little electromagnetism at each of the pins that it wants to knock down would attract the pendulum. A mortar to keep it going back and forth, and a little bit of a magnetic charge on the pins that it wants to knock over, and it'll deflect it. There's so many ways to fake that thing. Have a little air current blowing from the right direction.
Yeah, you got your
any number of ways to falsify that bullshit experiment, they call it, in proof of Earth spin.
Well, I'll be darned. Taking Back Eden is right. Learn something every day. The tiny magnetite compass in the human nose. Scientists at Caltech discovered that humans possess a tiny, shiny crystal of magnetite in the ethmoid bone, pink bone in the image. Okay.
What are they saying? We can smell the North Pole, or
metal inside of us that can align to the North Pole and give us a form of geolocation, that sort of thing.
Why not?
It says, as tiny compass needles, allowing the bacteria to orient themselves in the Earth magnetic field and swim. Oh, they're talking about something else. So this thing, we have a freaking compass in our nose.
So we have the hardware, but we lack the software.
Somebody needs to call the rock, tell him we can't smell what he's cooking, but we can smell the North Pole though.
Yeah, but if we have the hardware, that means we lack the software. We don't have that connection in the brain.
I've seen a study where a human will walk in a circle in a wide open space. Like if you just set them off in a path, they'll.
Yeah, but that's because your gait. That's because of your gait. Your one leg always takes a longer stride than the other.
The other.
Is that what it is? I just knew I'd seen that study a long time ago.
I'm looking for it in an article where it says why we have this, why they think we have it, but it's not saying it. They say it was helpful in human evolution as it made migration and hunting easier. Okay.
Shout out to Brandon.
Okie doke. Here, let me sense this elephant with my nose magnet here.
Shout out to Flat for Life. Thanks for the $10 super chat, brother. Appreciate that.
A link to that article in the YouTube chat.
That's like,
yeah, let me put that out there.
Yeah, that's like when Flat Earth Matt said that, gravity helped cavemen to survive because it held fire in the caves and stuff like that, Without gravity, they couldn't have stayed warm in the caves.
Yeah, how do they know
That's how
that?
birds do it, right? With their, they have supposedly in their, is it in their ears? Where they have this thing
in
that
the brain.
Sorry?
A lot of animals, it's in the brain.
It's in the brain? Okay.
Right in the brain,
So
yeah.
the animals can do it. Maybe we have like I said before, maybe we have the hardware, but we lost the software somehow.
Whales, salmon, turtle, dolphins.
Yeah.
So if they blindfold you and spin you round, would you be able to point to north?
Good question, Brian. Not me, anyway.
Only if someone rubs you with cat fur and magnetizes you.
Well, we need
That's
to do like a scientific. Well, we'd have to do like a scientific experiment, you know, like see what happens if we do that to like 100 people and see the average of how often they can, you know, find true north when blindfolded. Or...
Lemon, your mic's coming in and out. It's you're dropping in and out for some reason.
Worst mic ever.
I'll tell you what, my missus can get lost just around the corner, so I don't know how that works.
Most people get lost in a modern shopping mall because they're made like mazes to get you lost.
I do feel like I can tell which direction is which direction. But I think it has more to do with just knowing your surroundings than any magnet in my nose.
Yeah, that's probably what it is, yeah.
Yeah, try shutting your eyes, Brandon, then
go to somewhere you've never been before. Close your eyes again if you have somebody bring you somewhere, and then spin around a couple times, and you know, we'll see if you can tell where north is.
Well, I have a spinning chair, so we could do an experiment right now. I'll spin myself around.
Blindfold.
Yeah. There we go.
I'll tell you what.
I've always thought of an experiment on a train doing similar things with a spinning chair and blindfolded. Get the train, obviously, get it up to speed, and then spin people round and see if they can detect which way the train is moving.
Well, that's an interesting thought. We've got a $2 super chat from Cleary. We are horizontal equilibrium beings. Hebs.
Yeah. Because if the Earth's spinning, surely we would detect that. So if a train's moving at, say, 100 miles an hour, I'm sure our senses would pick that up.
I would think so. I mean, I just can't call it incredulity all you want. I don't think I can be moving at 1,000 miles an hour and not notice it at all, or change hundreds of miles an hour when I go from one place to another, and there be no sensory feedback on that whatsoever.
I can't face backwards on a train. Now, whether that's a visual thing or what, I don't know, but I have to be facing forward.
Yeah, I've never looked into. I know there's been studies that people have done, or just tests where they run up and down a train or sense that different stuff. But I haven't been on a train or a bus since I became a flat earther. I've always wanted to run down the aisle and see if it's easier to go one way or the other. I haven't done that myself. But Taking Back Eden FE maybe got some more information for us. $20 super chat. Thanks, man.
No question. Yes, it's easier to move to the back of the bus when it's in motion, harder to walk forward to the driver.
Yeah.
You have to overcome energy going forward, and you're really getting a lot back when you move to the back of the bus again. No question.
Okay.
It's harder to move forward in the bus when it's moving, and easier to move back to your seat.
Gotcha. All right.
Same with the train.
Taking Back Eden says, eyes, sclera, white ice wall, iris, land and sea, green, brown, blue, pupil black like the black magnetic mountain, like the nose, in the center of the plane, eye, tears salty like the ocean, lens firmament, beard, ice wall. That was almost
he's inferring that we're living on the eye of Odin, the great giant, and we're on one of his eyeballs, basically. And that's Norse legend and stuff. But we're living on one eyeball of a Norse god.
Well, aren't all the old maps up to 1565 drawn like that? There's they show like the outer land, then the continents, and then there's 4 pieces of land right in the middle where the 4 rivers come out, and then there's a mountain there.
Yes.
Has anybody else seen that?
My sons play this game called Fortnite, and the map looks exactly like that.
There's a big famous map. I'm showing it on my screen right now. And I used to know the name. It is called the Urbano Monte. I think that's what you're talking about, Chad. Can you see it? Or am I not sharing the right window again?
No, we got it. We got it.
Okay. Yeah, that's the Urbano Monte.
It certainly would answer a few questions, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah. Why did he go out about making a map that looks like this? Why is there a void in the center of the plane around the North Pole where there's nothing? It's just water. It's just, come on.
It might be part of an aquifer system or a pump where it drains out and then gets flushed back out somewhere else.
That's kind of what I suspect, that this is like a big filtering system with the oceans and the fresh water.
These masons have been digging this Oak Island, trying to solve this so-called Oak Island mystery. And this little island off Nova Scotia, they think has a bunch of gold and everything and tunnels and everything that were constructed and whatever to hide these reserves and et cetera, et cetera. But I've seen a lot of what they're at and where they're at on this island. And it really looks more like a place to make the purest water you can find, and in large quantities for whatever reason. It really looks like just a filtration system in place. They keep trying to pump out water, and they're surrounded by the sea, but they have nothing but fresh water that keeps pouring back in, and it makes it a nightmare for them. They're trying to dig through mud and garbage and hoping to find all this gold, and they just might be on a really well-designed aquifer system that's made to purify and filter water. That's what I'm thinking it is there. Not a big gold thing, nothing like that.
I think they might have Eden in the north on the mountain of God, Mount Meru, and that it's this big magnetic mountain that leads back home if people, follow their compasses there, back to Eden. The maps show 4 rivers leading from it.
I'll wait for your
Very similar
postcard
to
there,
Eden.
Lemon. Send me a postcard from the edge when you get there.
Well, there's lack of satellite coverage in the north and the south, so we really don't know what's up there. You guys remember that YouTube video that looked like there was some sort of huge electrical storm churning into the Earth itself? And it looked like maybe it could have been somewhere on the Earth. Maybe that's the North Pole. Maybe
Well,
it's
that's been just CGI too from, Russia and Soyuz and other stuff there. Who knows? CGI, it's been around a long time. I've seen that, and, I was super amazed by it when I first saw it. But critically thinking a bit, you got to be critical. You got to say the chances are it's bullshit. CGI. That's the real chances of that one being, this hole and this cosmic vortex sucking into the North Pole that they showed in that little clip.
I tend to agree with you, Jimbo. Nonetheless, it is an interesting video if no one's seen it. I'm looking for it right now.
Yep. And so were the creatures crawling up the sides of buildings in Russia that no one could see, and they had legs the size of phone posts. They looked very real, but they were made on Blender.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
that's
figure.
usually
They fooled millions
define
of people.
knowledge, usually define knowledge within certain parameters. We say that this can't be knowable because within the parameters and the boundaries that we've defined, this does not count as knowledge, and anything outside of this is impossible. But we'll have to see. It could be CGI, or maybe it could be something more.
Why don't we go to the North Pole and find out how hard can it be to get to the North Pole? We can go all the way. How far? We can go to 78 degrees. There's a town in 78-degree north latitude.
Yeah, there's a bunch of Inuit people who would like to send drones farther north and find out more, but they've been locked down by the government, and a law passed that they're not allowed to do that.
What? Really?
So why don't we? Because they keep shooting us down.
Who is this? I haven't heard about this.
Worse.
The Inuit people.
Antarctic Treaty.
Well, I didn't even think about that, having the Inuit send drones to the North Pole. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, The Inuits up north, if you look up Inuit long-distance drones, you'll find their company, what they make, and the fact that the Canadian government passed laws against them flying them north. End of story. And they probably spent millions to develop their business and stuff. You know what I'm saying? With probably some interest like that at heart, at the root, maybe wanting to send some north. These
I
are
think you'll
longer-
find the. I think you'll find the video if you search for Hollow Earth. It's under the Hollow Earth banner. If you're looking on YouTube, assuming YouTube hasn't scrubbed it or buried it in the feed. Because if you go Hollow Earth, I think you'll see the video where it looks like there's some sort of huge electrical churning somewhere on the Earth. I'd say it's probably at the North Pole.
Yeah, I'm looking
Yeah,
now.
it's real
I searched for
far.
North Pole whirlpool. That didn't work. I'm looking at Hollow Earth now, but I can't find it. If anybody has it out there.
Soyuz view or something. It's from the Soyuz.
Oh, that's what it was supposedly from, the Soyuz?
Soyuz, what did they call it?
That's right. It's a NASA thing, isn't it? Oh, shit.
This was Soyuz anyway.
Even more reason to not believe it.
Even the liar can tell the truth. You just verify what the liar says against a third party.
Yeah, true.
Is Travis around?
I don't think he's in here tonight, no.
Damn. Oh well. Oh, I've got some fun for him. He might enjoy this. I could do it, but I think it'll be funny if he does it.
Ooh, the Easter band?
Mr. Ether Band, yeah. I was watching Agree to Disagree last night, and I was in the chat, and I asked Conspiracy Cats in front of his audience there, could he tell us what the inferior mirage is? So he brought out a bit of a PowerPoint that he'd been doing, and he showed that, and he talked us through what he thought the inferior mirage was, and I had to laugh. I seriously had to laugh. I told him he was wrong anyway, so there we go. But tonight, I just hopped on there now. I wasn't on the show. I was just in the chat listening. And Seek Truth, Speak Truth was on there. We had another guy called Flat Turd. Anyway, so I asked them with Conspiracy Cats there as well. Flat Turd said it was diffraction. Seek Truth, Speak Truth said, oh, well, if Conspiracy Cats answered it last night, then I don't need to answer it. And Conspiracy Cats got it wrong last night, so what can I say? But I can show you, I can forward you the clip to play at some point.
Okay.
Yeah, I
It's
managed
hilarious.
to destroy the Soyuz view of that, cosmic cloud over the North Pole thingy.
Huh? What?
Oh, you found it?
Did we?
Yeah, I sent a direct message to you because what I'm putting in the general chat's not showing up.
Yeah, we've got you filtered out, Jumbo.
Did someone just say my name?
Whoa.
Say my name. Say my name. You were listening.
Yeah, I was. I had fallen asleep. I had fallen asleep at my stop, and then I woke up, and I was in the chat a little bit. But what's up?
Oh, well,
let's speak of the devil.
Speak of the devil, and he shall arrive.
He shall arrive.
Right. Do you want me to share my screen then? I'll play a clip from last night with what Conspiracy Cats thinks the inferior mirage is.
Go for it.
Tell me when you're ready there. Are you there to watch this, Travis?
Hold on, just real quick. Give me like 10 seconds.
No worries.
Oh, hey, Ranty Critical Think says, if Ranty says Cat's got it wrong, then Ranty is probably wrong.
Well, I'll play the video and let you guys decide. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll hold my hands up. But it's possible I'm wrong. But, Right, let us know when you're ready to watch this.
All right, we got blue squares so far. Does anybody else see it? Oh, there we go. Got it.
Okay. You got it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm back. I'm
All right.
hoping that'll be the fix.
So let me show Ranty about the
inferior.
Anyway, yeah, sorry.
It's not
I'll
working,
give you the
sorry.
screen. I'll give you the.
I'll screenshot that. So this is obviously going to be the formation of an inferior mirage. Obviously, when light is traveling through the air, if depending on where the hotter is and where the colder is, the light is either going to bend or refract or change direction towards or away from the normal in quite a predictive manner. This is a nice little diagram here, which means that we're seeing things that should be in the sky, right? For example, here we're seeing things that should be in the sky a little bit lower down. And if I show some pictures of that, I'm not going to do a whole lecture on it, but this was my PowerPoint. This is what I prepared for old Howard. Who?
Hang on, you mean you brought evidence to a debate?
I brought evidence to a debate. Yeah, this is everyone's getting to see my stuff now. And there we go. So this would be an example. I did this for the Plain Truths because the Plain Truth talks about mirages, etc., and things going over the ocean. Well, if we're looking at an inferior mirage, we've got the sky that's reflecting in the and we get this sort of effect of like an absence of sea or an absence of land and things sort of disappearing in a very non.
I mean, I've got to stop it there at the minute. I mean, yeah, can you see what the images that he's showing for an inferior mirage?
Yeah.
Look at this.
Oh my gosh.
Does anybody here think that's an inferior mirage?
Well, I have made comments on this. In that I have made comments that the sky is miraged to the left or the right when you do have an inferior mirage. Like, say for instance, the only thing that's missing in this to be a full-blown inferior mirage is the inverted image of the sailboat. So that's the only anomaly here. But this image is on the website for Georgia State University on their optics. They use this as a demonstration of a superior mirage because that boat is actually behind the curve, and it's being loomed up, right? So, I mean, what I have said about this is that, you know, we have seen other images like that golf tournament image with the ship in the background, where you have no inverted image on the boat, but you have a clear band underneath the boat. And so what I've said is, I think that this is just simply a miscategorized, refractive distortion.
And I would agree that there's no way in a million years that this is an inferior mirage. Absolutely no way.
About mirages.
Let me just pause that and go to the next image that pops up too, which is the road. I mean, this is just a reflection off the road. I mean, it gets just it. But now I understand why he keeps playing the boat of mine that shows the inferior mirage without understanding what it means. He goes on in a bit to explain what he thinks you should see when you see an inferior mirage, but it's clear to me that he thinks that you should always see this kind of thing. Anybody?
He thinks that you should see you should always see what kind of thing? That blue area there?
Yeah, this kind of like this reflection off the like the boat. If we go back to the boat and we look at the boat with the sky underneath it, I believe that what he's trying to say is that, you know, you can only classify something like this as an inferior mirage.
Inferior mirage I wouldn't even just means that the fake image is below the real thing above, and superior means that the real thing is below and the fake image is above. Superior is above, inferior is below. So you're saying there's some sort of fake image below the real thing that's really generating, or quote unquote more directly generating the image. So by, a rough, definition, it would, I guess, be an inferior mirage since it's underneath, the true, image of the sky or whatever, I guess.
What do you think, Travis?
I was just going to say that I don't think I would classify this as an inferior mirage because you don't have enough of an image inverted on itself. I would just say that you're looking over a hot road and you've got the evaporation that's creating the image. But I wouldn't
qualify this. I don't see anything right now that's because you've got what.
Well,
what
yeah,
would
you're
normally-
right there because from
Yeah.
normally what you'd see from right to left is you'd see the inferior mirage throughout the whole image, and you'd see
Right,
things repeated
right.
down. It's clear that there's that's not happening in this, and that's just a
Right.
reflection off the road. So
Yeah, and again, I think he got this image from the same Georgia State University website because they had a lot of these images that are like this.
Well, the reflection could be such that you're getting the sky reflected and it's coming below, giving you an inferior mirage. At that point, the mirage would be generated by the reflective air layer coming off the road. But who knows?
Well, yeah, that's true to a certain extent. But if you look at this, if you look down the middle of the road at the very horizon, you've got this very ghost-like image, and then to the left, you've got another dark, like a bush that's out that far. So, there's not a complete diffraction of the image at that point of convergence. Like you don't have this complete swallowing up of. I mean, if you lowered your perspective, I think you might wash it out. But I don't know. I just wouldn't classify this as an inferior mirage.
No,
it looks like it's because the road is generating the heat layer, but the ground isn't. So the phenomena is only being demonstrated off of the road. So you're not getting a full, inferior mirage through the whole, frame, only on the road.
yeah, I still don't see that as being accurate because what you would see is you would see something in the distance that you can see, and you would definitely see a mirror image of it underneath, inverted. It would be upside down. So you would literally be placing a mirror on that. So if you were looking at a building, you'd see it upside down, half of it upside down, half of it the right way up. And we don't see that. That's what an inferior mirage is. You'd be able to see that. Just the reflection of the sky isn't proof of an inferior mirage. You need to see something with an inferior mirage on it. You need to see the reflection. You're not seeing that.
Well, here too, one interesting to note is that the road has a much different temperature, higher temperature than the desert around it. And all that sort of mirrory haze is above the road and not the desert.
I mean,
Yeah.
Travis and I have hundreds of images of what an inferior mirage is that are far, far better to demonstrate than this, Anyway, let me play the video a little bit more.
This is a very non-defined horizon. This is a very weird looking horizon because we're seeing the sky. Here again, it's a very non-defined horizon that we're seeing the sky.
Well, actually, that image that was just played there is a pretty good example of an inferior mirage, actually. There we go. Because there you see the boat. Can you see the top part of the boat? You can see the boat. The inferior mirage runs through the center, and then the bottom of the boat is repeated underneath. So you can see a mirror image underneath, inverted, so that you can definitely see that that's where the line is. That if Travis's ether band would be here, am I right?
Yeah. But the other thing that I would say is that even to the left and to the right of the boat, the sky. So if you look at the inverted image of the boat that's upside down, if you go to the left of that, that's mirrored sky. If you go to the right of that, that's mirrored sky. So
yeah, but it's not. It's also the water. The water's still peering through the sky.
Right. No. Yeah. Well, at that point, right, you've got that. Yeah, but that just has to do with angles. If you were to lower your angle, I think that would wash out.
Ranty, put your cursor where you think the water is in that picture.
Probably up here somewhere. Probably way up there.
Yeah, that's the hard part on how to explain people because the water goes way past the boat, correct?
Yeah.
So it would appear to be higher than that boat, but it's not. That boat is floating on the water. Now show me where the cursor is, where the water is, where the boat is.
Oh, that will probably be around about here, I would say.
Right where the miraging is, basically.
No, probably a bit lower.
A little below, yeah, but about where that is. Right.
Yeah,
but higher than the actual water.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
I agree with you total. The water keeps going. It appears to keep going up due to angle, but we know that boat is floating on water. That's what people can't grasp. They just can't see it.
So Conspiracy Cats is going to round it up by telling us why he think, well, just listen.
Here again, it's a very non-defined horizon that we see in the sky. But what we don't get with an inferior mirage, oh man, where are we going to have to go? What we don't get, and I put this to Travis, what we don't ever get with an inferior mirage is tell me I've got the picture. Oh, if I haven't got the picture, I'm going to cry. I'm going to find it.
I just want to see the flying boat again.
Well, I mean, if we look at this one, this is right. I'm not. This was sort of like Ranty's picture, but the thing is, if there was a mirage sort of here that was somehow hiding the boat, it would be something that, if it was an inferior mirage, it would be the sky that we'd be seeing.
It would be the sky that we're seeing. Did you hear that? So he thinks that the only way you can classify an inferior mirage is if you can see the sky. Right? No word of a lie. There's literally an inferior mirage right where my cursor is there. Can you see this boat? Now, I've tracked it all the way. You can actually see the cut-off part of the boat here. I tracked this. It's a very famous boat tracking that I did. You can see the white part of the boat here and the white part repeated there. And the center part is the middle of the red part. And the line runs right through it. Right? That is where the inferior mirage is. Right?
But I think he's saying that because you don't have sky underneath that image of the ship.
Yep.
He thinks that that's a solid unit of the ship. Yeah.
Yeah. So what he's classifying an inferior mirage as being is if you can see the sky reflected off the surface. Now, because he can't see the sky reflected off the surface here, he doesn't class this as an inferior mirage. But if we go back to the other images that we were showing, where we see the boat, obviously, what looks like it's flying, and we've got the hot surface of the road reflecting the sky, he thinks that's an inferior mirage, but he thinks that this doesn't classify as an inferior mirage because the dark water here doesn't have any reflection of the sky above it. And I couldn't believe what I heard when I heard him say this. But it explained a lot why he keeps playing this video and saying there's a boat going over the horizon when it's absolutely demonstrably clear that there's a huge inferior mirage on the boat here where the cursor is.
Yeah. Well, that's what you get when you get people who don't go out and take their own images.
Let me play that part again. Here we go.
Here that was somehow hiding the boat, it would be something that, if it was an inferior mirage, it would be the sky that we'd be seeing.
It would be the sky that we're seeing. It's just so wrong. It's so wrong on every level. Right. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say when I heard this last night. I told him he was wrong. But there you go.
Good stuff. Interesting.
They think everything obstructed is curve, and they just can't see that it could be the atmosphere doing it for some reason.
I was actually this past week going over some footage at the Chesapeake Bay, and I was actually working on images just like this with sailboats, because I've got images where the sail is inverted on itself and it goes down into the water, so it looks like it's a complete sail. And so then you think, well, where's the hull? Right? I can see the sail, but where's the hull? So in their world, it's below the water. But I'm demonstrating with other images as contrasts, showing that the sail is inverted on itself, and you have to understand that the hull is there in that fold line, swallowed up in the mirage.
All right.
Yeah, they don't like to think that things can get swallowed in the mirage. I mean, I think it took years for the Rumpus to actually agree to that, and then he's turned around and said, "Oh no, I've been saying that for years." He hadn't. He had not been saying that. Travis, back me up on that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I couldn't point you to the exact show, but I can remember being shut down immediately when I first came on the scene talking about that very thing. I was told left and right, no. So I wouldn't put it past him to have been that one of those naysayers.
Well, then they'd have to admit that things can be obstructed from the bottom up. So that's a tough pill to swallow for sure.
I think that was Ali B, wasn't it? That was Dogs in the background.
No, that was me. That's why I muted for a minute. But yeah. Okay, my mother-in-law's in town. She brought her little yippy dog with her. There she is. There it is again. Is it loud? Is it coming through the microphone loud?
You little tosser, Ranty. I didn't understand what an inferior mirage was until I.
There he was. There he was.
You little
just waiting.
wanker. I explained. I understood the mechanics of this 3 years ago. I've done the equations. I knew this exactly, and you didn't even understand what a mirage was. You still don't understand what a mirage was. You're a moron, and now you've admitted you've got a terrible memory, and you just demonstrated it. I understood the mechanics and the maths behind this many years ago and explained it to other people. You're getting me confused with other people. I explained it to you. You didn't know what the hell was. You still don't know what the hell's going on. And I explained that with them, I've got the maths to demonstrate this. I've got a document that's 3 years old now that demonstrates this before you even understood a micro millimeter of this. Jesus Christ, you've got a memory like a goldfish.
Did you used to? Were you the first person to tell us that things could be hidden from the bottom up with the inferior mirage? Then, seeing as you knew all this,
I have no idea. Someone else may have mentioned it before me. I certainly mentioned this before you even understood what an inferior. Well, you still don't understand what an inferior mirage is. You still get confused about the temperature gradient. You still think you've got sinking going on. You don't understand any of the issues to this. Whereas I've actually got mathematical models that reproduce exactly what Anthony Riley took at the Isle of Man. Means I can produce.
To the days,
I
Rumpus,
can
when
produce
you get out
images
on the field and take these images yourself, and you think I've got to throw away all that math now.
I can
look
show
forward
you.
to that day.
I can show you images that I've created with the maths that I've done. That
Okay,
exactly.
Rumpus, I look forward to the day when you get out on the field with a camera and see this stuff for yourself, and then throw all your maths away.
Try and take turns. My mathematics brings about the same image that Anthony Riley did with his inferior mirage case and with his super looming case. So
but you didn't tell anybody, did you, Rumpus? You didn't tell anybody that anything beneath that inferior mirage on the lighthouse was hidden by the inferior mirage and not by Earth curve, did you now?
I didn't make that explicitly clear.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Not very early on, but I later.
No, you didn't.
No, once I'd done the maths, I did.
No, you didn't.
But the very first part. Well, you didn't, Ranty. You know nothing about this subject.
You didn't.
You have misremembered it as usual because you always get everything wrong.
Do you know it was the lighthouse?
Get everything wrong.
Do you know it was the lighthouse on the Isle of Man that made me start looking into the inferior mirage and why that inferior mirage was running through it and why we weren't able to see the very bottom of the lighthouse? Forget the fact that we were able to see the top of the lighthouse that should have been hidden on your globe mathematics.
Yeah,
but we were looking for the bottom. But we were looking for the bottom. You know, because we're flat earthers here. We're not just saying things looming. We're looking for answers here. And we realized there was a line running through that. And what was it? It was an inferior mirage. So could it be that the inferior mirage was hiding the bottom of the lighthouse? And that's what
Miles Davis.
Hold on. Let me finish. That was what started my quest into looking into the inferior mirage. And if you say that you had this document 3 years ago and you understood that things could be hidden behind the inferior mirage 3 years ago, then that was pre the Isle of Man. That was pre Isle of Man. Yes.
2.5.
Pre Isle of Man.
2.5.
Pre Isle of Man.
2.5.
So pre Isle of Man.
No, 2.5 is not pre Isle of Man.
Well, okay. All right. So if you're going to change it, you've changed it from 3 now to 2.5.
You can't cope with fractions.
I wasn't telling people that things could be hidden by the inferior mirage. It was around about, I'd say, 2 years ago.
Yeah, I know, because you were behind the curve. Yeah, I know.
So why weren't you telling us then? Hold on.
Let me give you the chronology.
Why weren't you telling us?
Do you know who the first person was to spot?
Hold on.
Who do you think was the first person? It wasn't me, actually, who spotted that the bottom of the lighthouse was an inferior mirage and not the bottom of the lighthouse.
I was the first person.
No, you weren't. No, you weren't.
I saw the image.
No, you weren't.
Hold on.
No, you weren't. Do you want to give you the name? It was Miles Davis. It was Miles Davis. And he did observations after Anthony's initial one in October 17.
I don't want to be rude, but you're talking over me when I'm trying to explain to you.
Well, how many minutes are you going to go monologuing before I get a chance to answer?
I saw the images of the Isle of Man before you. I saw the images of the Isle of Man.
Of course you did.
Before Miles Davis.
Yes,
in fact,
you didn't come to the conclusion.
In fact, can I finish?
For Christ's sake, I'm not being allowed to answer here.
God, let
Because
him
I haven't
finish,
finished.
because he's not
God,
finished.
how long are you going to go on for before I'm allowed to make
Just
another
stop
response?
as long as he needs to.
Well, no, he can't
Stop.
go on for 5-10 minutes without me making a response to 10 points.
Yes, he bloody well can if he wants to.
Well, I mean, okay, we doesn't want to debate here.
Right, so I put the composite together. I took the imagery, I put the composite together. I changed the contrasts on it. As I changed the contrasts on it, the inferior mirage became more evident. I discussed this with Anthony Riley and Nathan Oakley and whoever else we were working with at the time. I forget his name now, but some guy that disappeared off the face of the planet. Anyway, and I discussed it with these about the inferior mirage. And this was before it was even... Hold on. This was before it was even put out to anybody. So if you're going to go and say who's the first person to spot the inferior mirage, then that was me.
No, it wasn't. Because you did not start discussing.
I've just walked you through how
it could have
Here's not been Miles Davis.
You made up that composite. Agreed. And it was the worst composite anybody could have made. You misaligned everything. You got everything. You had the water going uphill, if you remember. It was the most appalling composite anybody could have made. A child of 11 could have done a better job. So that you couldn't have come to any conclusions about inferior mirage because it was so appalling. And
Let me see if I can get that inferior. Let me see if I can get the image.
There was 3 months of analysis, Ranty, before you started making noises about inferior mirages, and Miles Davis did. You did not precede Miles Davis. You had the pictures first, but you didn't do the analysis properly first. You didn't even have a proper picture. It was only when me and Gia Strieber realigned all those composite elements.
How long are you going to go on for?
Yeah, well, I didn't compare with Ranty. Jesus Christ, and I had lots of useful
No,
points
you
to make.
went like 10 times longer, so no comparison at all. You're right.
Not getting it. I'm afraid, Paige, you're just too biased, I'm afraid. You're not objective here.
Yeah, Rumpus knows nothing. That composite, you couldn't have done the composite any better.
I did.
In fact, well, you haven't.
I did.
Do you want to? Do you want to bring it up? Yours against mine?
Okay.
Right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Go on then.
Okay. Let me just bring up my document. I have to bring up my. I don't think I've got that running. Okay, give me a second. It takes a bit of time to load up.
You don't need to tell us what you're doing, Rumpus.
Okay, I just thought I'm just letting you know that I've just run away or anything. I'll share my screen a second. I've got this to take about 2 minutes to load up. So you can, in the meantime, while I'm
Well, we
loading
couldn't
up
be
my
that lucky.
load up yours.
Good grief.
It's part of my web page document, which is about 250 pages long, and it takes about perhaps 2 minutes. It's on my faster computer here, so it might load up in about a minute.
Oh, you got
This is beyond pathetic. Just my comment on
You were
it.
all right.
So the simple point that we're making here, Rumpus, is that
Bring
you
up
were
your
aware...
document then. Stop moaning about me not bringing up mine. Bring up yours. Jesus
Okay.
Christ.
Right, so you were aware.
How long did it take you to bring up your document then, Ranty?
I've got it up right now.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you on about? Do you want me to share my screen?
Where is it? Where is
So
it?
you can see it. There you go.
Okay, it has loaded. Here we go.
There you go. So there's my composite that I did.
Let's have a look. If it's the one you did originally, it's the most embarrassing thing. I think in 11 years. Here we go. This is the uphill one, isn't it? Yeah.
So here we go. This is the composite that I did.
Scrolling to the right, people.
Oh, yeah, I am.
Seems very well aligned. That's nice.
Let me just carry on.
This might be revision 3, but the first one was absolutely right. You should notice
Hold on.
here.
Hold
if you draw
on.
a horizontal line, you'll see that it's going uphill.
Draw a horizontal line.
Yeah, draw a horizontal line, Ranty, and you'll see you've got it going uphill.
Hang on.
Because you're incompetent.
Let me finish. Let me finish going across here. We're lining up the mountains, right? And we're lining up the bottom here.
Yeah,
right?
I had to correct you. I had to help you do this.
Hold on. No, you didn't.
Oh, I did. I had to
you
put
didn't.
myself
You didn't
and
do anything of this. I did all this myself.
Oh yeah, but only because we criticised the various. We told you Gia Strieber and I told you the 3 major errors you made.
There we go.
And right here we go.
Looks
Here
all
it is.
right to
No,
me.
to the right, to the right, to the right. See, it's already going uphill. See, notice the change in the angle of the black thing from the left. It's now.
Right.
If you draw a horizontal line, you will see this is going
Yep.
uphill.
And you do realise that Sleeping Warrior was the person who filmed this on a camera from the
Yes.
beach,
Yes.
and I was taking still shots
Yes.
of what his camera
Yes.
was showing.
Yes,
So if he
that's
had his
what I
camera ever, hold on. So if he had his
I did the
camera ever
same.
so slightly tilted, you dimwit,
No,
then
if
that's
you
what
do it
I would
properly-
stitch together.
Well, you're an idiot then because he changed the angle of it, you moron. You have to realise that's what the camera's doing, and then you make adjustments for it. You didn't do that. It's going uphill. It's going uphill. We can all see this. You see this? It's going uphill.
What's that going to? What's that going to do?
Let me show you how it's.
He's going to have a heart attack in a second. He's not even taking a breath.
So
he's going to lose it.
So let's go.
His whole head's going to explode.
It's going uphill. I mean, it's incredible. You've still got this going uphill. You still haven't fixed it.
So here we go. So let's look at the inferior mirage. Can you see this down here?
Yeah, we know it exists, Ranty. No one's disputing that. No one's disputing.
Oh my God, Ranty!
No one is disputing the existence of the inferior mirage, but you didn't spot it.
Can you answer me this question then? So is the bottom of the lighthouse hidden behind the inferior mirage then?
Yes, the inferior mirage is obscuring the bottom light carries on down underneath that black line. Yes, the real one. Yeah.
Wonderful. So this is the inferior mirage that's blocking, and it's not the Earth curve then.
Oh, it is blocking the bottom. Well, whether it doesn't, the bottom of the lighthouse in reality only just goes below because it's refracted up, of course. The bottom of the lighthouse only just goes below that black line in reality. But what you're seeing there is an inferior mirage for the light. And I'll tell you what, Ranty, I'll show you what a professional looking analysis looks as part of my
a professional looking one.
Yes,
right, okay.
exactly. What's something
a professional looking one, right? Okay.
Right, let me
get to do that for your own person.
Let me just share my screen.
So anyway, it was the inferior mirage. It was this inferior mirage over here.
No one's
over
disputing
here.
That, no one's
over here.
That.
Let me finish my point. When you guys were saying, where's the bottom of the lighthouse? You can see the top of it, but you can't see the bottom. And there was an inferior mirage there. That's what started my interest in finding out why we couldn't see it. Was it because of the inferior mirage? Now, you're going to try and claim that you knew that the bottom of this was hidden behind the inferior mirage.
Not initially. I'll admit that I did not know initially. Neither did you. You're just rewriting history.
That's right. I didn't know about it back then, and nor did you're saying you didn't. But you said that you knew about this before me.
Yes.
Right. Which would mean that because I was the first person to start talking about this and was getting a lot. Hold on.
You weren't.
Hold on start talking about it in public. On these debates on Nathan's. Let me finish. You didn't come on and say, hey, I'm a globe earther, and guess what? You see this lighthouse over here? See the bottom of the lighthouse that should be in this area here? It's hidden behind the inferior mirage. You didn't say that.
Well, not initially, no.
No, you didn't say it, did you?
But before you did.
Did you say it?
Before you did, yes.
Did you say
you
did?
What?
Yes, before you did. I mean, how many times did I say that?
Where?
Well, when I tried to...
Why is that even... Why does that even matter? Who said it first? You're like a 5-year-old.
Because
I did this before you.
Paige, he's the one who started this competition.
Yeah, you know why?
He saw the pictures first. He might not have said it out in public, but he thought of it before you did because they had the pictures before you did. So he would have had to have known before you.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't understand it. He didn't understand what he was looking at because he's an idiot.
What you're witnessing here is me allowing the rumpus to say this so many times that he can never back out on this, and so many times that we can get a really good 5-10 minute video of rumpus saying that things behind the inferior mirage are hidden, and that's what I've done this for.
I discussed this a year ago.
Yeah, but now you got so excited about this.
A year ago, we had a long half-hour chat on your show discussing this very issue. Have you forgotten that?
No, I haven't.
So now
it's nice to remind everybody. It's nice to remind everybody. You came on the show. You came on the show. You came on the show. You came on the show hot,
happened, aren't you?
You came on the show hot.
You're misrepresenting what happened. You're now presenting to
you came on the show hot.
And Paige, as
you
though
came on the show hot.
I've never said
this is not very. This is not a good look for you.
You're misrepresenting it. You're misrepresenting.
This is not a good look for you.
No, you're an idiot. You're misrepresenting. I mean, this is deceitful of you. You're suggesting
this is not a good look.
That I denied this, and yet a year ago we had a chat about this for 3/4. I think
you said you knew about it, but you didn't tell anybody.
I did 2 years ago, but you didn't. You never listened, Brandon.
Well, you said you knew 3 years ago.
2.5.
Oh, we're getting the high cracking voice happening.
Yeah.
So
why did you sit on it for 6 months then?
I didn't.
Well, you just said you just told people to sit 2 years ago, but you knew about it 2.5 years ago.
Well, the first
analysis. Come on, when did you first tell us? Come on, right, let's spit it out. When did you first know about it?
I think his jocks are very tight.
Yeah. Whose memory's screwing up now? Is it my memory that's bad or your memory that's bad?
You did, because you didn't understand what the hell was going on. And
Just because
You're
you
not in his brain.
Miles
No,
Davis.
actually,
you don't know what he thought of before. You did.
I'll tell you the truth of what actually happened. I started telling people that the bottom of the boats and the bottom of the buildings in the distance and the bottom of the land were hidden behind the inferior mirage. Rumpus then decided to look into what is the cause of the inferior mirage and try to link it to refraction and bendy waves and bendy light waves. And this is what he was doing. This is how he's tried to explain it away by investigating what's the cause of the inferior mirage, not the fact that it hides things from the bottom up. That was my first baby when I first started talking about this on the Flat Earth debate. Right? It was totally new to everybody. And let me finish. And essentially, when I started showing boats half hidden by an inferior mirage or distant land half hidden by a reflection, right? People distance themselves from me, flat earthers included, right? Because let me finish, because they didn't understand what I was presenting, right? Now, you obviously understood what I was saying because then you started investigating it and came out with this refraction. No, let me finish. And it took about. Let me finish.
Are you so scared to let him finish, Rumpus? Are you that terrified of what he's saying?
Telling me what I did when he knows nothing.
Then refute him after he's finished.
And it took about 6 months before it was finally started to be accepted. I did presentations on Jeranisms, on Globebusters. I did it on Nathan's.
When did you do that?
Oh, 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago.
Oh, right.
Go look them up.
2 or more. Oh, you can't pin it down then. When was that then? So
yeah, they were ages ago.
Give us a link to where you did that. Give us a link where you did that.
I will. But right now, let me finish my point. Was that at that point, this was all very fresh. It was all very new. That's why they brought me onto those shows to talk about this. And it was all very novel, all very new. Nobody really understood what I was showing. And now people understand it. But back then, it wasn't the case. Back then, I had to fight tooth and nail to win this. And if you're going to turn around and try and jump all over it and hijack my point and turn around and say that you knew all about this all along, then that's just disingenuous and it's bullshit.
You just misremembered crap, as you always do. The only reason that I was always accepting that inferior mirages existed from even before the Isle of Man.
Of course they exist. You can't deny it. You were saying that was...
You see, you've been going for 5 minutes now, and I've barely had 10 words. Right. I knew all about inferior mirages covering things up before the Isle of Man. But whether or not it was an inferior mirage with a lighthouse was another issue. And the only reason I investigated it for the Isle of Man was because of what the pictures that Miles Davis took about a month after Anthony Riley's first set of pictures from which this composite is made. And he showed that there was an extra bit of the Isle of Man. When you went up, you could see an extra bit of the lighthouse. And that was when I thought, aha, perhaps there is an inferior mirage actually happening. Because initially I didn't think there was an inferior mirage happening on this. But I knew all about inferior mirages coming up even before this. But I didn't know it applied.
Hold on. Where the fuck's Jeranism's content gone?
No, he's taken everything down.
Fuck's sake, I've just gone onto his channel. I've just gone onto his channel then to have a look when I actually appeared on his show.
Yeah, he got 2 strikes.
I remember that. Yeah, it was a while ago now.
Right, let me look up Globebusters then.
But while you're doing that, I'll present you a proper composite here. If you share my screen, you should be able to see.
Hey, Ranty, BrewTube might have a copy of it.
Well, we've reached a lull. Brandon, I'm going to say goodnight because the Rumpus is just an idiot, man.
Oh, here we go.
All right, Primate. Talk to you later.
Here we go.
Thanks for everything.
Thank you.
But anyway, I would like to present my composite.
Hold on, yeah, you can, but let me just get this
Good
last
night,
point
DP.
in. Let me just get this last point in. On Globebusters on the 11th of November 2018, so that was 2 years ago and 1 month ago, I presented he's uploaded a video called Flat Earth, No Boat Went Over the Horizon, where I go through the inferior mirage. Oh, does that seem painful to you?
A year after he took
Yeah, I have had enough to learn.
afterwards. It's a year afterwards, you moron. I've just refuted you. That's a year after the image was taken, you utter twat.
2 years and 1 month ago, Rumpus.
A year before that, the pictures that Ranty Riley took the video, you moron.
This isn't yours. This is my boat.
Yes. Well, that's a year after.
You just said that I wasn't talking about this 2 years ago.
After the Isle of Man pictures.
You just said,
idiot.
You just said I wasn't talking about this 2 years ago.
Well,
let me have a look at my videos on my channel.
You did it after the Isle of Man.
Brandon's channel.
This composite you're looking at was taken in 2017.
Hang on, let's have a look at the oldest first.
Just check on that date.
See the first time.
Absolutely sure. And you're a year afterwards. You're a year out of date. You're lagging, but yeah. Do you know that composite was taken from a video that Anthony Riley did on the 27th of October, 2017. You're a year out of date, Ranty.
First and foremost, I just went to. Oh, fuck me. I can't do
You're
with
lagging by a year after me, you moron. I did the maths and the modelling.
This is so pointless, Ranty.
I think we're still waiting for that paper of yours, Rumpus.
Yeah, when is that going to be published?
He said that he wanted me to prove that I was on Globebusters at least 2 years ago, presenting imagery of the Inferior Mirage hiding things from the bottom up. And I just brought up there and then a video that Globebusters mirrored on his channel in November 2018 with me talking about the Inferior Mirage hiding things from the bottom up, right? So I literally just proved the point there with him.
Okay.
He won't concede anything, mate. He will not concede anything.
So the first time I started talking about it was on the 14th of May 2018. So that was 2 years and 7 months ago.
I don't know why he's so concerned about who came up with it first anyway. I mean, what is his argument? Yeah.
Because he wants that to be the argument. He doesn't want to have to argue about what is actually being shown. He wants to argue about who saw it first and, who talked about it first.
Drag it off. Drag it into the weeds.
So here we go. Here we go. I'm presenting. 14th of May 2018 was the first time I presented a boat with the Inferior Mirage on it, which you can clearly see here, right? You can clearly see the Inferior Mirage running through the boat.
Oh, yeah.
The video is called "Perspective versus Curvature: The Vanishing Zone Puzzle." 2 years, 7 months ago. So this was the first time I started talking about this. In fact, it might have even been before then, but it's the first one I've just picked up now. So there you go. 2 years, 7 months.
You know what? I'm worried about Rumpus, Ranty. Now with you, going off and doing other things because he's lonely. Sometimes he hangs around here. I know he's looking for you. I can tell, and he just kind of, comes in, and I don't know. I'm worried about the guy.
Well, I don't know. He just gets He gets so. Right. Here's the things, guys. Right. And this is no word of a lie. He wants this Inferior Mirage to be his baby. He wants to be the one that says that he found out that things that are hidden from by the Inferior Mirage, which is utter bollocks, right? If you go through, like I say, any of my videos from way back when I first start talking about this and start presenting it on Nathan's and Globebusters, it took Globebusters. Get this, right? So this is my point. Oh my God, yeah, this has just proved it, right? Do you remember I said to you it took about 6 months for it to be started to be accepted by the community, right? 14th of May was when I first started talking about it, and Globebusters Bob mirrored one of my videos in November 2018, and that's exactly 6 months afterwards, right? So it took 6 months for the rest of the community to actually agree with what I was saying, right? So all those videos that I put out with the Inferior Mirage and what they're doing, and all the Nathan's presentations from May 2018 till November 2018, when I was looking into all this stuff, took all that length of time before finally Globebusters Bob decided, you know what, he's got a point here, it's true, and he mirrored the video, right? And that just proves my story, which is what I was saying. For those 6 months when I was showing this, like boats hidden by a reflection, right? People didn't get it. They didn't understand what they were looking at. They thought I was showing proof of curvature. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I remember that. There was some very good discussions and very, very illuminating stuff back in the day. Definitely remember that.
Honestly, Ranty, you did it numbers of times. I remember back on Nathan's show when you'd bring up shoaling and tidal balls and all these things that nobody had heard of, but you'd been off ferreting around, digging up, information on bloody ocean currents and God knows what. And so over time and months, I think you educated lots of people on lots of things that were factors in what we see and don't see. So it's not to blow smoke. It's just like you were in amongst all this stuff, at the pointy end of the spear. So.
Yeah, and the thing is, what Rumpus wants, he wants to be the first person to say that he's been able to demonstrate how the inferior mirage happens and what the effects of that are at the end of the day, right? Right, sure. I was the first person to say the bottom of things are hidden by a boat. Rumpus wants to be the first to say that this is the reason why things seem to be hidden by the bottom of it, because of refraction, blah, 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 and things can get hidden. But now what he wants to do is he wants to jump in and say that he was also the orchestrator behind it all, to be the first person to say that he thought that he was the first person to see that the bottom of things were hidden behind the inferior mirage, which was bollocks. Right, because when I first started talking about this, I got the piss taken out of me for 6 months from globe earthers, flat earthers, and everything. Honestly, I felt like quitting so many times, but I was so determined to prove the point that I pressed on and pressed on and pressed on, and eventually it was accepted. But I could have quite easily succumbed within the first few weeks or months and just said, "Screw this," and then it would have all been lost. Nobody would have talked about it. Right, it would have all been gone, and Rumpus would have just sat there doing whatever he's doing. But now what he's trying to do is he's trying to steal the work that I did and say that he already knew this. And that's bullshit. Just it was not the case. I know what went on. I know how I was persecuted back then.
Well,
right?
What is he going to get, a Nobel Prize or something? I mean, what is he so concerned about?
Well, because he's a globe earther and he wants to be always right. He can't have a flat earther have something that's been proven to hide things from the bottom up without the globe earth already knowing it. Right? That's the simple point. Because if you accept that a flat earther got there before you and a flat earther actually proved this before a globe earther did, that would be devastating for the globe earthers. So he's trying to hijack the point and say, we already knew about this. Right? So that it's not a win for flat earth. That's what he's trying to do.
Well.
And he's trying to rewrite history, and it's bollocks. I've argued with this before because I was at like somebody just said, I was at the tip of the spear. I know what I went through in those months, right? I know because I was out there every fucking day showing this, and I was the one talking about it, and I was the one sitting up for 12, 14, 16 hours every day looking into it and researching it, right? And I know what I was getting, the grief I was getting from flat earthers, globe earthers, the ridiculing, the people unsubscribing. Nobody liked me talking about this on either side, right? Because we didn't talk about refraction back then. People hated the idea of the word refraction, right? But I was showing this shit, and people thought I was showing proof of a globe, and that's why I got the nickname Great Globe Prover. You go out and you show a boat going over the curve, you know what I mean? Because I'm showing the inferior mirage because nobody else fucking did it, right?
Right.
And I'm not having him come in and it's like, when, what is it called? Stolen valor, right? It's like stolen valor. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see how that could piss you off, but no one believes him, Ranty. No one believes anything he says, and it's a win for Flat Earth every time he opens his mouth.
Yeah, I literally went through this, right? And it's like stolen valor. So when he comes in to try and steal this, and it's not even the point, I don't care that I was talking about this before anybody else, but I care that the fact that he wants to come in and then take credit for that and stamp all over me when he suffered none of the abuse I did or none of the bullshit that I did. I suffered that. I went through that, right? And he's trying to claim that for himself. So I understand this stolen valor shit because this is just like what he's trying to do. And he can, honestly, right? He could, right? If he wants to talk about what's the cause of that, sure, he can argue that light does this and light does that, and that's why we're seeing this. That's fine. But he wasn't the first person to start talking about that. This is why the bottom of things are being hidden, right? He wasn't that first person. So to come in and do, that's no, not on my watch.
Yeah, I get you.
And I'm passionate about that because it's just, and I wouldn't have been, but I had to go through so much to get this out there, right, before it was finally accepted. And I'm not having him come in and just stealing that.
They still to this day say you show the best globe proof and shit, talking that shit.
Yeah, that's like the 15 degrees and Jaren's. That's interesting. Those are the three things that they love to bring up.
Yeah.
It's annoying as hell. They're just trying to annoy annoy you, Ranty. I mean, Rumpus is probably putting it in his book. He's going to put it in his book, and he's going to take credit for it. He doesn't want you to sue him for proceeds or something.
Well, he's just proved it, right? He just said that, it was 3 years ago was the first time he said he first, and then he corrected himself and said, no, it was 2.5 years. And then he corrected himself a third time, and he said, no, actually, it was 2 years ago, right? And I said, well, which was it, 2 years, 2.5 years? He said, no, 2 years, right? So you all heard him say the first time he started talking about this was 2 years ago, right? I have a video on this channel, your channel now, Brandon, from May 2018, 2 years and 7 months ago, right? Showing this, talking to me about this, right? I can't recall a single video that he can bring up or a citation of anywhere that he's presented this saying that this is what's happening. The bottom of things are hidden behind the inferior mirage. If you can do that pre May 2018, great. I know he can't.
Nah.
Because the first time I ever heard him do that was on this show about a year ago when he came on and he said, "Oh, I've never not said that you can't, that the inferior mirage doesn't hide anything. I've always said that."
Oh, that's a crock of shit. I'll tell you that.
That was the
100%.
first time I heard it, and I was like, I pulled him up there and then, and I says, "That's a crock of shit. That no." No, that didn't happen. No, because the Globers were adamant that where the inferior mirage is where the curvature of the Earth started. And he was one of them. And, to just come on a year ago and try and claim that he's always known that this was the case, that just infuriated me. And he still does when he comes in and starts talking. And that's why I just wouldn't shut up talking. When he came in and he was just talking constantly over me.
Yep.
But at least let me finish my point.
He's a master of bluster and hyperbole, and pretty much everyone, both sides of the argument, know that. So I really think his credibility's, in the basement with Globers and flat earthers, Renty. So I mean, by all means, have a shot at him, but don't get too stressed about it.
Yeah,
it's kind of like it's just a stolen valor fucking thing, because you can understand if somebody's been in a war zone and seen, an experienced real grief and real pressure and etc. like that at the time. Now, I'm not going to claim that mine is anything like that, but still, I have to say, I was quite invested in Flat Earth and my mind was constantly on Flat Earth. So to be involved in that for 6 months, it did feel like I was in a damn war zone. And to go through all that shit to get to the point where it finally got accepted by people like Bob from Global.
It was definitely an emotional war zone.
It was an emotional war zone. And
I remember what you were like back then. It was horrible.
Yeah,
but a lot of us were listening. We remember it too.
Good. You can fight my battles in the future. Then I just don't want him to steal that win for the Globe, because it wasn't the Globe that proved this. It was not the Globe that proved this. This was the first people to start talking about things being hidden behind the inferior mirage were flat earthers. They were not globe earthers.
There is no win for the Globe, Ranty.
Good.
But I understand what you're saying. We're all clearly on your side.
Someone
sent Brandon a super chat.
That video you did where no ball went over.
You're roboting, Jeremy.
Curve. I remember seeing that years ago, and that was.
He just dropped off. Yeah, I mean, some of your stuff that you showed, I remember when the optical slant and the dirty air and all that stuff was brought up for the first time, and you had to wrap your mind around it. You're like, wait, what do you mean? If that's not the geographic edge of the ball Earth, then what is it? Could it be something else? Just the idea that you could see a false horizon, that you could see what looked like a hard horizon, and it's not a real horizon, was new to my mind, at least. And it sure the hell wasn't talked about that much until those early days on Nathan's show. And you were definitely the driving force behind a lot of the observations that impacted my thinking, for sure.
What was it? Jeremy said no boat went over the horizon. Indeed, it didn't. That's the whole that video that I did. Yeah, I mean, I stand by that to this day.
That was a good video. Yep. Am I roboting still?
A little bit. I think it might be better though. But anyway, okay. So moving on, I have some new Changi 5 landing footage, and this is going to blow your minds. You guys are going to go out and buy NASA t-shirts after this and believe in the Apollo moon missions and be all on board for our brave new future. Ready?
Ready.
All right, let me share my screen here. Okay, hold on. I built it up too much and then wasn't ready. 1 second. There we go.
I saw a screenshot of their thing with all the people sitting in front of their computer stuffs, and up on the big screen it said 2018. They had a date from 2018 on it, saying it was live from this Changi mission.
It might have been a different Changi. This is Changi 5. I think there was Changi something else. So here it is. You guys see it?
Okay.
All right. This is real live footage from above the surface of the moon.
Fuck off. It looks like cheese. It looks like cheese.
It's real because it looks so fake.
It's worse graphic than Doom.
Where's the solid surfaces? I mean, what?
Hey, now, I don't want you disparaging Doom, son.
Right? It is. That is an insult to Doom. Look at that. Oh, just let me pause it. Just look at this thing. Look at it. That is so
That is
bad.
just horrible.
I mean, come on,
Really?
guys.
Looks like a sponge I washed my car with.
I'm ordering my NASA t-shirt right now as we speak.
That got you, huh? That won you over.
Do you know what I find interesting, and I'd like you to pause it at any point, is that the small impacts from the craters from the small impacts are essentially the same depth as the large craters. Now, I believe that the bigger craters created next to the smaller craters that probably, let's say, 10 times bigger, then they should be 3 or 4 times deeper, you would have thought. Why
A
are
little
they?
bit.
Yeah, why do they appear to be the same depth? I mean, there might be a very small difference, but to my mind, a bigger impact should have a deeper crater.
I mean, it's probably just refraction.
miraging.
Yeah, it's refraction.
Gravity.
Gravity. Yeah, there you go.
Looming.
Yeah, so let me finish playing this. I mean, this is just mind blowing.
And why?
Here it goes. It's gonna land. Okay. We haven't even gotten to the best part yet.
Hang on. Why haven't we got any trails? Why haven't we got any impacts of like a meteor skimming across the surface and creating a trail? Why are they all like full impacts?
Well, that's a good question. We were asking that the other day. I have not heard a good answer to that. Here it goes. Buckle up.
Right, we're waiting.
All right, we're getting closer. Every time it seems like you're there, it goes some more. There we go. I think we're on the ground. Nope. Still going. Here we go. It's like one of those optical illusions. There we are. Woo! What do you think, guys?
Wait, what just happened?
All those craters look like they're about 2 feet across. Then, even from
It landed.
like they don't really, they don't get any bigger.
Was there a cut or something, or was it lagging for me?
Okay, where's the shadow? Hang on, just go back to that last image.
The shadow here?
Yeah, so let's look at the shadows. So we've got the shadows in the little craters in the center left. And then we've got the shadows of the lander, right? Are they in the right position, do you think?
Could be. I don't know. You'd have to. I hope they're not that incompetent that they wouldn't get the shadows right, but you never know.
Okay. I suppose it's a bit difficult to know without actually seeing some more perspective, but I was just looking at where the shadows were inside the craters.
Right. Now, when are they going to give us some pictures of Earth? I mean, they went all the way to the moon, and so far, what we've gotten back doesn't include the Earth in it. So I'm hoping that at some point this little thing points a camera at Earth, so we have something else to
Yeah, good luck with that, mate. You're expecting these to turn the camera around and look at the Earth?
I mean,
from there. I mean, they've literally got to turn the camera about 90 degrees, mate. Do you think they're going to do that?
Yeah, why would
It's
they
a
do
lot
that
of
for
work.
us? Why would they put more than
It's
one
a lot
camera?
of work. It's a lot of work, mate. I mean, come on.
Well, the
They've got-
bandwidth too.
Listen, they've got to think of the weight. No, they've got to think of the weight on the lander and the fuel that they're going to use. I mean, putting an extra camera on that points towards the Earth. I mean, you know, it's too much money.
Do we have any other video, or is that's it?
Well, we looked at a couple other ones the other night, but this is definitely the most action-packed one.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
Did you
yeah.
see the one? Did you see the one where some guy, some amateur from Earth, supposedly took his iPhone and looked through a telescope and saw it land?
No, I heard about that. I thought that was a joke. Is that real?
No, I just posted it in the live chat.
Okay, well, we're definitely going to have to take a look at this.
It's only a minute and a half.
Come on now. Okay, so this is supposed to be them looking at Chang'e 5. There's the moon, I take it. So he's going to look at the moon. Okay. What kind of telescope is that?
I don't know, but bear in mind that the moon's moving. So let's hope he's got some kind of equipment on the telescope that can compensate for the moon's drift.
Absolutely.
Because to me, that looks like the moon isn't moving.
Yeah, it's definitely not moving.
Let's see. I'll leave my mouse right in the center. No, it isn't moving.
Huh, so his telescope must be moving, and what he's using to film it and look through must be moving too. Whatever, yeah.
Oh, come on, man.
No,
This is... Are you kidding me? Are you joking? That's not what we saw.
There it is.
We didn't see that. We didn't see that splash all over, right?
And why is it just a little black dot? I mean, come on.
Give me a break, dude. And we can't look at the Apollo
Why
landing
isn't it
sites?
lit up? Why isn't it lit up? Right? If the surface of the moon is all lit up, right, it should be bright as a button. Why is it dark?
That's so fake. That's fake as fuck. It doesn't even matter. That's ridiculous, right there.
Come on.
Whoever said they took that should be ostracized.
This viral video lab. This is what happened when I pointed my telescope northeast of Mons Rumker tonight. I used a professional telescope and an Apple iPhone to record the footage. Too impossible to be true?
Yeah. So he's just so he's got no other equipment other than a telescope, basically. So if you've ever tried to film the moon from a stationary position with a tripod, but the time that you actually set it up, I've done this with the P1000, right? You set your P1000 up, you zoom into the moon, and the moon is crossing across the wherever you've zoomed into. So the moon is definitely moving. So the way that he had that then, there's no way that it could have been filmed unless he had some kind of motion tracker thing on the camera as well to tilt the, to compensate and follow and track the moon, right? So just to say that he put he filmed it with his telescope without it moving, the moon isn't moving. He's just, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
That might have been the most ridiculous shit I've ever seen.
Let's see. I don't see anybody in the chat defending this either. I'm gonna go ahead and say that this is a prank because I see the comments in the chat, and he said it just landed an hour ago, which is 20 hours after you posted this video. So I think this guy, whatever this channel is making stuff up. But yeah, so this isn't real.
What's he called? Oh, man, it's in the Discord, isn't it? Maybe you should link the Discord up.
They're just making stuff up? Come on, that's not like Globers.
Never.
I wonder how many people saw this and thought this was real, though.
Yeah, probably a lot.
Yeah.
All the Globers.
Did they really?
Yeah, that's who sent that to me.
Are you serious? A Glober sent you this?
Yes, they said that was proof.
Oh, this is clearly fake. Wow.
Oh, come on. So wait a minute. So a Glober sent you this and said this is proof. So, but I've just gone through why it can't be, because first and foremost, right, to get that quality of. I mean, how big's the lander? I mean, do you realize how far?
Exactly.
Do you realize how zoomed in you would have to be to the moon to capture that lander as that size, right? Literally, if you didn't have something compensating for the movement of the moon, all you would see is a very fast moving moon, right? That's what you would see as he's filming into it, because the moon would be moving that fast. You'd be zoomed in that close that the moon would be just going past at a rate of knots, right? And you wouldn't have captured that stability like that.
Even if you did have a tracker on it, wouldn't you still see a little bit of movement?
A little motion, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Also,
yeah, but still, this is stationary bollocks.
Brandon made a good point, though. If you can see that, how big was that thing? Why can't we see the Apollo landing sites?
Oh, it's like the LEM size. It's not huge. This would have to be so big.
Wait a minute. Where's Wally thinks it's real? Wait a minute. Where's Wally and Professor Phil Bell both think it's real?
If that's like available to whoever this guy is, what kind of technology should like actual organizations have that would be able to give us crystal clear pictures of like the LEM and things?
Exactly.
They say the Hubble couldn't even get a picture of the landing sites for the Apollo missions, but this guy had a telescope that can.
No.
So if you say that the size of the object that we're looking at is about what, let's say 500ths of the area that he's able to film through, right? 1/500th, and then you scale that back, right? You'd be able to calculate how fast that moon should be moving as he's filming for what? How many? Is it about a minute or so? So he's filming the moon for about a minute, and the moon doesn't move a single smidge, right? Not a smidge. Doesn't move anything. But he doesn't say that he's using some kind of compensator for that tripod to change it. So right there and then, where's Wally? You debunked. Same with Professor Phil Bell.
Yeah, Wally says
nobody can do that.
Did you not see the amateurs hacking the data from the Chinese lander in the way to the moon? I don't know what you're talking about, Wally. Why don't you link it? But
maybe the hackers were the secret service pretending.
And Phil,
why doesn't that
Phil
guy
says, as if you're talking about this, do you know the motion of the moon is in tidal lock with the Earth movement?
Is this guy for real? Do you realize if you point your camera? Oh, is Professor Phil just said that, right? Listen, oh my god, right? You do realize that the moon moves faster than the Earth, apparently, right? Yeah, that's why it's in a different position every day, every morning, every evening, right?
Yeah. Have you ever tried to film the moon? You have to continually move your camera. What do you think EQ mounts are for, Phil?
Duh. Oh, this is terrible for Professor Phil.
I mean, I asked Phil if he stands by this footage. He hasn't said anything, but Wally clearly thinks this is real stuff here. That's embarrassing because clearly this is fake. I mean, this is a prank here.
Yeah.
How dare you challenge the professor?
Listen, I filmed the moon with a P1000, and you don't get anywhere near as close as you would need to see the lander land like that, right? In other words, the P1000 is probably 1/20th of the equipment that you would need to actually zoom in that close to actually get to see the lunar lander land on the moon, right? That probably isn't even accurate anyway. It's probably far greater than that. But if you said 20 times stronger than the P1000, and when I zoom in with the P1000 to the moon is moving very fast.
Yeah, it's hard to keep your camera on the damn thing. Yeah, exactly.
You have every minute or so, the moon disappears from one side of your P1000 when you're fully zoomed in to the other side. It literally goes right across the screen, the whole screen, all the way across, in about a minute, maybe 2 minutes or so, from one side to the other. So if you imagine that you zoomed in 200 times further than that, what you'd be seeing would be moving so fast, you wouldn't be able to focus on one little part like that to track something.
Not to mention, I've heard them say that the Hubble couldn't zoom in on the Apollo sites. There's not a telescope on Earth that could do it. But apparently they didn't know about this guy.
I mean, listen, I mean, this is legitimately, I'm not saying that this is faked by the space agencies. I'm legitimately saying that this is a prank. This is a joke.
Oh, yeah, it's got to be.
That's not. That's not real, yeah.
And Wally, I mean, tell me, please, that you don't think this is real, buddy. I mean, come on, man. Let's see what Phil says. I don't know. Last night I was in the meeting with Chyandran 3 crew and we poured over hundreds of photos supplied to us. This was not one of them. We will have our own in March. Yeah, he's always pushing his Indian space stuff, which we've had quite the fun time with.
Look, one image is not a video. This was a video where he films it for about a minute or so, and he's filming on one part of the moon, and you see the lunar lander, whatever it is, come in and land, right? Now, he wouldn't be able to do that because it's a video. It's not an image. He'd be tracking the moon. He would have to track it, right? And, you know, I don't think there's an EQ mount out there that could track like this and get it so stable. And he doesn't even say he uses an EQ mount. He just says he uses a telescope and an iPhone.
With an iPhone.
Basic.
Yeah.
Well, if he's got the iPhone 12, I mean, that's gonna.
Yeah, it's got 3 cameras. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see what if we got.
Well, anyway.
Now Jose's not buying it. Kudos to Jose for not buying the moon stuff. Appreciate that.
Yeah, it's just fake. Right out of the bat. It's just, you know. It's just, yeah, it's so fake. It's unbelievable.
Did you see this stuff, Ranty? There is. Let me see. Get to the actual footage in here. This is pretty funny stuff. Here it is. I think this is it. This is the Ascension. There it goes. Pretty good, huh? They didn't put very much out. They put a lot of CGI out, and they only put short clips out. I think this might be not enough to really get people excited. But I know NASA's definitely watching because they got a lot of work to do for their Artemis mission. They're going to have to come up with some really good stuff. We'll see what happens. But that's that. I got a image from Robert Gillies, a viewer of the channel, and he did kind of a vanishing point extrapolation, I guess. I don't know what you'd call it. You guys should still see that in the Discord, but of this picture that we've been looking at, you'll recognize the red squares just to show how it's less spaces or the same amount of spaces and less area on the photograph. And now he ran these parallel lines out. These are roads out into here. And his contention is, well, it goes up to the sky, so must be a globe. Anybody have any thoughts on that? Then he's got something. I didn't completely understand this. Yeah, this doesn't really. I don't know what this means.
What's with the lines? Why did he draw them all the way up in the sky?
Well, he's just taking the vanishing point and saying the vanishing point should meet on the horizon if we live on a flat plane. This doesn't meet on the horizon, which he can't see the horizon in this photo. That's the whole flaw that I see. And he's saying, well, it goes up in the sky. That can only happen on a sphere or a curved Earth.
Yeah, Dr. Phil was trying to use a video or some kind of photo on 24/7 the other day where you couldn't even see the horizon. All you can see is the cloud cover, and it's like.
So I guess
why would you... Go ahead.
So no, I was just gonna. I'm looking at these lines, and I'm just thinking, I don't know of a single roadway, let alone 1, 2, however many roads that is, that has a length of from that altitude, a cruising plane, let's say 200 miles to the supposed horizon. So we've got to assume that we have 200 miles of straight road in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 roads. 10 roads, 200 miles in length, all pointed in the same direction that are all perfectly straight. Where's this guy got these roads from?
Well, he's not so much about the roads. He's just using that as parallel lines in order to draw it out. It's more about where this point meets up here.
Okay. So why didn't he draw the parallel lines not quite so parallel? And why have they ended up in a point anyway? I just don't understand how you got... Listen, I don't understand this image.
Well, it should be, perspective says that parallel lines will appear to intersect. in the distance. So you can draw them out to a vanishing point, which is typically on the horizon.
Okay, so why hasn't he just made the point at the horizon then?
Because what you do is you just take the parallel lines and you follow those out to their natural spot, and they should match. They should meet at a horizon. But here's the thing, Ranty, there's no horizon in this picture. The horizon very well could be up here.
Yeah, but my question still remains, which is, how has he determined that this is the correct scale with what he's drawn? Yeah, how's he come up with this formula to say that? Oh yeah, based upon these lines here, these green, yellow, and white lines, this is where these lines will intersect. Well, if somebody else did the same thing, what's to say that somebody else did the same calculation, let's say, and suddenly it ends at the horizon that we see?
Well, don't think so much about these yellow lines or the white ones or the lateral green ones. Just look at these green and white lines that go off in the distance. Maybe I'm misunderstanding your point, but that I think is legitimate to take those parallel lines or those lines and draw them out. And that would indeed be the vanishing point, in my opinion, based on this. But there's definitely some flaws in this analysis here.
Okay. So what happens if you started off with a smaller scale? So you see the lines that is included at the bottom, right? So that they're quite wide at the bottom, right? Can you see where he's first started it off?
Yeah.
So let's suppose that he started that off 50% of the width. Instead of it being a full width, let's say he started at half the width, right? Where would it end? Where would those lines end? He's drawn 10 lines now, hasn't he?
Yeah, no, it wouldn't matter. All he's doing is taking these roads down.
Oh, it would. No, it would matter. If he did that half the width, it would end before the horizon.
Like if he had them in the middle here?
So if he cut the width, you know what the width is, don't you?
The width of the lines. Yeah, in between these lines, or which width? Or this width?
I can't see your cursor.
In between the green and the white lines, or in between the white lines?
I think Ranty is saying if you don't use as many lines.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's take away the fact, right? So he's got 8 boxes. 8 boxes at the bottom, right? So let's just use 4 at the same width. Don't use 8, just use 4. If you then started doing all these calculations on 4 boxes, where would that intersect? That would intersect before the horizon.
No, it would still go to the same point. It doesn't matter how many lines. So you can see if you follow these lines up to here, I mean, they all are going in the same trajectory and they all meet up here. I don't think they'd meet anywhere up. You can't see any of them meet up here. They should meet at the same point. This right here.
Anybody else got any input on this? Because maybe I'm just not getting it.
Here,
I don't get it either. I don't.
I've got another image that I'll show you. That's a similar kind of analysis that I did. 1 second. Yeah, but
should get Lemon.
Go ahead.
Should get Lemon Bird in here to explain it to us. He probably knows.
Okay, it looks like he dropped off. Okay, I'm just downloading a file. It'll take a minute, but Gleam is really the person who could explain this well. Let me see what he says here. If he has used the center frame, this would be correct. As remember, the point is pointing at about 35,000 feet up. Yeah, so this plane is way up high. So yeah, I think this is correct. This should be the vanishing point. He just thinks the horizon is down here. That's the problem.
Are we talking about the loomed horizon or the actual horizon? Which?
He is talking about. Like what? He's talking about this being a real horizon somewhere in here. It's the.
Well, if I can make a correlation between some of the stuff that I've shot out on the Channel Islands, I've made the statement that even though we see the water have a limit, and then we think we're seeing the sky, we're not seeing the sky. That is an an inferior mirage of the sky. So what that means then is that the water is extending into the distance according to perspective. So you're not gonna be seeing another 20 miles of water. You can't, because it's obstructed by the medium. So what you're pointing out here, Brandon, is if you follow as much of the terrain as you can until it starts to blur, and you continue, that's like saying, in my image, that the water is ending and you can't see past the water, so the Earth's curving. No, you just can't continue. You can't see the land continuing to go into the distance, so it actually would be that high. That's why they, the pilots in their schematics have an apparent horizon that's like an inch above the horizon that they can see, because they know that the medium is obstructing the plane extending into the distance. So they show the pilots, this is where the horizon really is. It's up this high, even though you can't see it, and that's where you fly. Keep that line.
Exactly.
That's interesting. I've never heard that one before.
So yeah, let me tell this just real quick. Let me just tell this. I was flying. I can't remember where I was flying, but it was last year, and I actually just happened to be sitting next to an Air Force pilot, right? So this guy in the middle of the flight brings out his iPad, and he's going through all these schematics. So I'm looking at him, and I'm like, "Hey, what are you looking at?" And so he started telling me about what he does. He is an executive pilot that flies like people like Trump. He's the Learjet pilot. Anyway, so he's showing me all these schematics, and he showed me the schematic of the gauge that has that apparent horizon. And I said, "What is that?" He said, "That's the apparent horizon." I said, "Well, why is it that high?" And he actually didn't know. He didn't have that answer that I just gave you. But I'm sitting there crunching it in my head going, okay, wait a minute. If, based on all that I've seen and all that I'm understanding. So I actually explained it to him. And he just said, well, that's really interesting. I mean, he didn't concede. I didn't bring up flat Earth. I was just trying to plant some seeds and going, okay, look, if this is this and this is this, then this is what's going on. And he was just like, huh. But anyway.
That was a good story.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you ended up explaining it to him. I like that. So this is another, like, a vanishing point. It's a 2D artist thing. You draw in perspective, first person perspective, and all the parallel lines should meet at the same point into a vanishing point, which is a finite distance. That's how reality works too. The vanishing point is a finite distance. All parallel lines will converge as they go off in the distance. Same thing here. Like, you're looking down a hallway. If it was long enough, they'd all converge in the same thing. All the corners, if you drew a line down. Same thing in a city. And then you can see it in real life. In this city here, this is just taking like the tops of the building, which are all parallel. The eaves, whatever. The top of this building that's closer, and drawing them all down. And they all meet at the vanishing point, which is supposed to be on the horizon. Here's one with jets, chemtrails, contrails, whatever you want to call it. So lots of examples. Same thing with a bridge. You look down a bridge, etc. So all he's showing here is that there's a couple things. This could be that there is a altitude change.
I've got it. I've got it. Go back to that last image that you just showed. The railings.
Oh, my presentation? Okay.
There you go. So look at the railings there. Any one, right? So the railings, it all depends on your perspective where you start the line off. So look at the bottom left image.
Yeah.
Can you see the bottom? So he's not started it from the floor, has he? You see that red line that he's got going through?
Yep.
He started it from the center of the screen, right? Whereas if you go back to the image that you presented, he starts it off at the bottom Like at the bottom, like you see on that bottom left-hand corner there, you've got the bottom board at the bottom with the nail in at the bottom.
Yeah,
it's like that's where he started. He started it off in his diagram. He started it off from back there. But if you look at the red lines in this perspective image, they start it from the center of the screen. Now, if you go back to the image you were presenting originally,
these ones here, I'm just showing the horizon, right? That's what these red lines are.
Yeah, but they all start this perspective idea from the center.
If you look at like the railings on the top left one, all the railings go down to meet on the horizon, to vanish at the horizon.
Yep.
Okay. All right, I'll go back here.
You also start seeing.
Yeah, but look at this. He starts it off from the bottom of the screen, and you're in an aeroplane at 35,000 feet.
Well, that's the other
so
thing.
He's not. Yeah, he's not started it off in the correct position.
I don't know.
If anything, he needs to start it off at let's say at least the wing on the top left, if he's going to do it properly.
Yeah, I see what you're saying now. Yeah, since the way the perspective is from this picture compared to the other picture, the previous one, he put it in a location that's a little bit deceiving.
Dubious.
Yeah, once you look in or change your view on shit, like look at that GIF I posted with the sunset. It looks like the sun's setting, but then you zoom in on it. Oh shit, it's not setting. You know what I mean? You change your view on shit and it looks different. That's not right.
That's a good GIF, actually. I'll bring that up in a minute. Let's see.
Yeah, you like that? I like that one.
Ed put something in here. Let me see what this is.
Wasn't Randy looking for Travis earlier?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, but we dealt with that already.
Okay, how can the land continue if we see a line suddenly get lighter? Ed says. Ed, you're in here, aren't you?
Yeah. What's going on there?
What do you mean? What is your assumption?
Well, is it like a snow area or something? I don't see any ice below, so it looks to me like that's the atmosphere, and the red line is the horizon.
Yes, this is the atmosphere. As you go up, you see these red boxes that I put down here. This was just to show how much the space is consolidating into smaller and smaller visual space. So as you get closer to the horizon, this red box right here in the middle, the top red little box with the white squares around it, is going to be just like a hair's width up here. It won't even be a box at the horizon. So you're squishing all that atmosphere, all the particulates, maybe there's fog, clouds, whatever, into that little space. And what that does is it cuts down your visibility. We call it turbidity, water vapor. You can call it a lot of things, but it's essentially the atmosphere is blocking your view any further than that point.
Yeah, but the point is you said it's not an horizon.
No.
It is the horizon. And if the Earth was flat, it wouldn't have an horizon.
No, it's not a horizon. That's the point. It
would not get so light. It would get really dark, actually.
It does get dark. This is dark.
No, I highlighted it even with the words light and dark.
Oh,
Go back to the original one. You can see I didn't edit anything.
I was thinking the opposite. Yes, it gets really light. It gets really white. You're not getting any information from this area because it is blocked.
Yeah, but then it should be really dark and not.
No, it shouldn't. Why should it be really dark, Ed?
Yes, it should, because the land continues.
It is dark in the sense that you can't see anything. It is literally obstructing your view.
Yeah, it's like he didn't listen to what I was just explaining. Okay, so this.
No, Travis. You talked about water. This isn't water.
There's not water in the atmosphere, Ed.
This is land.
Okay.
Well, it's not land.
Ed.
If you look at the word dark, and you look above the word dark, before you get to the line that you've put across, the red line, if you look between the word dark and that red line, you can't make anything out. You can't make a single thing out. You couldn't make a tree, a house, building, nothing. You couldn't make anything out between that word dark and the red line that you put in for where you think the horizon is, right? So why...
Is that the ocean then or something?
All right, but why are you saying that that's the horizon? Why have you claimed that red line is the horizon when you can't see anything?
Because that's where it starts getting light. So there's only atmosphere
But
and not land.
But I've just
Because the
explained.
land doesn't continue.
Yeah, but I've just showed you how if you look at the word
the land
dark,
does continue.
if you look at the word dark and you look above the word dark, you've got an area there of at least a couple of centimeters at least before you get to the red line. And you cannot see anything. It's all misty. And if you've ever looked through cloud, you're in a plane at 35,000 feet, and essentially you're looking through a lot of atmosphere. You're looking through clouds, low-lying clouds, distant clouds. It builds up. Eventually, you don't need a lot of cloud in a lot of area to stop you seeing for any length of distance. And what you're seeing here is just a culmination of all that cloud just creating a blanket so that you can't see through it. That's why if you look at the ground, you can see on the ground for a certain distance, and then it starts to get misty, it starts to get foggy, and then it fades out, and then it disappears, right? That's the reason you can't see anything. And the fact that you can't see anything...
a shitty camera.
And the fact that you can't see anything means that you can't determine anything from this image. I'm sorry, but you need a better image, firstly.
Well, that's fine then. But
and secondly, you've put the red line in saying that this is the horizon, but there's no proof of that. There's no proof of that in the image. You can't determine that that's where the horizon is because you can't see anything.
Well, that's very interesting because you didn't say the exact same thing when Travis spoke, and it applies perfectly.
When Travis spoke, what do you mean?
Hold on. When Travis said all these things about refraction and water and all these things he likes to say a lot, you didn't address it and tell him, well, we can't determine anything because yada yada yada, what you just told me.
There's a whole bunch of things going on, but the most evident thing that's going on here right now is the cloud that you're looking through. You're at 35,000 feet. And if you know anything about flying in a plane, you go through low-lying cloud, and then you go a little bit higher, and then you encounter a little bit more clouds. There's different levels and different heights of different types of cloud that you go through. And a distance of 35,000 feet in altitude, it's around about 200 miles or so to the horizon, something like that. So have you ever thought about how much cloud you're going to be looking through from 35,000 feet for 200 miles before you get to your horizon? That's not our horizon, that's your horizon.
Right,
How much cloud are you looking through? What is fog and what is mist?
But you're missing the point.
Hold on, just a minute. Fog and mist are low-lying cloud. The cloud that lies, that settles on the ground. All you're doing is you're taking yourself into the clouds and you're trying to look at something 200 miles away through fog and mist. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, so, Ranty, you told me that I can't determine anything from this picture. So how come you can or Travis can?
Well, I'm determined that we can't see anything. That's a statement of fact.
Well, yeah, all right. But then why did you tell me all this other stuff then?
I'm telling you the reasons you can't see forever. You can't see forever in a plane at 35,000 feet, 200 miles away. You can't see forever. Sometimes you can see a very long way, but the majority of times you're looking through a lot of cloud, and this is just one of those typical everyday days that you're looking through a lot of cloud, and that's why your perspective is going to show you a drop in the horizon. Now, if you are in mist or fog, let's put it this way. If you can only see 30 feet in fog, are you looking down or are you looking straight ahead when you're looking at the ground?
Well, it's interesting that you keep determining all these things.
I just want to ask you a question. Just answer the question. You can only see for 30 feet in fog. You're in fog. You're walking outside. You can only see for 30 feet. Are you looking down at the ground, the horizon, or are you looking straight ahead?
30 feet. If you're looking straight ahead.
Yeah, if you can only see for 30 feet, where is your horizon?
I don't know. Things just disappear or something, but that doesn't matter.
Where is your horizon? Where is your horizon? Is it straight ahead, or do you have to look down to look at your horizon?
Oh, well, that depends on a lot of things, actually.
No, it doesn't. Listen very carefully to what he's asking.
No, hold
it. It's not a difficult question.
Stop.
It's not a
Wait
difficult question, Ed.
Wait a second.
If you can only see for 30 feet, and you're a 5-foot man or a 6-foot man, and you can only see for 30 feet, Are you looking down or straight ahead when you look at your horizon?
Right. So I can't determine that. Just like you said, we can't determine. Travis, stop. Ranty, you told us we can't determine anything from this picture. So can you stop determining things about this picture?
This wasn't in the picture. This was the thought experiment. If you can only see for 30 feet,
I know,
if
because
you can only
you,
see for
Ranty,
30 feet.
Ranty, you move, you move. I know what your question, but
I want you to answer
moved
it.
on. Yes, but
as soon as you answer it, you're going to answer what we see in this.
Ranty, please, just let
you
me
know,
finish.
You know, if you answer this,
Are you serious? Can you just
know
let
if
me
you answer
finish
it.
one sentence?
You've got to answer mine.
Yeah, he's asking
But
a question.
you-
You're
you-
not
Ranty,
answering
just let me answer then. Let me
What?
answer then. Let
Go on
me
then.
answer then. Stop interrupting. Oh my
Go on then.
god. You already moved on to that without letting me respond to all the previous things you said. That's why I don't want to move on to this topic
Okay,
just
listen,
yet.
the reason why he moved on is to give you a thought experiment so
Yeah,
that you can
White
make
Knight.
okay, listen, shush. He's asking you
Right.
now he's asking you now a thought experiment because he wants you to be able to correlate
But we
the
didn't
question
finish the
that
previous
I'm not
topic.
finished. I'm not finished.
Yeah, I wasn't finished either when you kept interrupting me, Travis.
Okay, you're not answering his question.
Because he already moved on, and we didn't.
He's asking
We were still at the previous topic. That's the whole fucking point,
No,
Travis.
no.
But
He
don't you
moved
understand?
away.
Are you kidding me? Come on.
I understand perfectly, Ed. He moved away from the previous discussion because he wanted to help you take baby steps.
No, I don't really need help from anyone. So
It's
come on.
quite clear that you do. So do you need to look straight ahead or do you need to look down to see your horizon if you're in fog and you can only see for 30 feet? Do you need to look down or do you need to look straight ahead?
Can't determine that.
Can anybody else in the chat other than, was it Jeremy then? Anybody else answer this question that's stumped the Globe's premier debunker?
You said we can't determine it because we can't see so far. So how come you can't determine it when it's only 30 feet away instead of the miles away in the picture?
So if you can only see for 30 feet,
Isn't
and you're
that
in fog,
interesting?
are you looking straight ahead at your horizon or are you looking down at your horizon?
In your words, I can't determine that. Yeah, you can laugh about it, but it's your claim that we can't determine that. So we can't determine that.
Can
That's how it
anybody
works,
can anybody on the panel answer the question?
Yeah, you look down 30 feet. Ed, this is why I won't.
Right, so Travis, you disagree with Ranty then about the picture. You're saying we can determine the horizon in the picture.
No,
Travis.
he's just said you look down.
No, yeah, so he says we can determine the horizon and also in this picture then. So, Travis, you disagree with Ranty then?
Yeah, we can disagree with each other. We're big boys.
All right, no, that's okay. Well then, Ranty.
In actual fact, where you'd be saying the horizon is, your red line is completely out of whack. I mean, it should be beneath the letter, the words dark that you've actually put in, because anything above that you can't determine. And the definition of where the horizon is, it's where the sky and the ground appear to meet. Now, it's quite clear that you can't determine that from where you've put your red line.
You can determine where it gets lighter.
You can't determine anything other than what you can see, so that your horizon would be under the word dark.
But
Right?
you
So
can see
that's
you
a
can see
simple.
the land is dark.
Hold on.
You can see the land is dark and goes into the dark, and then we see it go to light.
Dark and light is not a description of where the horizon is.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, no shit.
In this shitty picture, it is.
No, dark and light is not a description of where the horizon
You can't see a horizon in this picture, Ed. Can you see a horizon in this picture, Ed?
Then where's the
Can you
horizon?
see a horizon in this picture, Ed?
Then Ranty,
Can you see a horizon in this picture, Ed?
Ranty,
Can
in
you
your
see a horizon
example-
in this picture, Ed?
Hold on.
Can you
Ranty, in
see
your
a
example-
horizon in this picture, Ed?
In your example,
Can you
of
see a
30 feet-
horizon in this picture, Ed?
Can you settle down? and let
Answer
me
the
address
fucking
Ranty's point?
question. Answer the fucking question, and then we'll move on. Can you see a horizon in this picture?
Yeah. So Ranty,
You're
But
an
it's not in the
idiot.
place where you've done it. But it's not in the place where you put the red line, is it?
Ranty, hold
No,
on.
you've imagined where the horizon
how
you think
then-
should be.
Ranty,
But
how-
your actual
Ranty, I
horizon,
have a
from what you
question.
can let me finish. But your actual horizon, from what you can determine,
I was actually talking
where-
before you interrupted me.
Well, let me finish. The actual horizon, from what you can determine, where the ground meets the sky, would be lower than the red line that you've put in. Right, it's a
Right,
very
so it-
simple thing, very
all
simple
right, so
concept. Now, it's
if
the same- hold on, let me just finish my point. It's the same with the thought experiment with the fog. If you can only see for 30 feet and you're a 6-foot human, and you can only see 30 feet in fog all around you, you're surrounded by fog, you can only see 30 feet, your horizon will be looking down because you cannot see anything beyond that. You have to look at the ground. You have to look down to see where the ground
The elephant in the
sky.
room. The horizon on a flat Earth should be in the point where all the lines converges. That's the elephant in the room.
It is, Jose. It is there.
Yeah, that's
No,
not
it
the
isn't.
elephant in the room. That's what the discussion was
no.
about, Jose. You can't
Just
see
over
past
the
this
horizon,
line
the
right here.
picture
You
is what you
cannot
said.
see past this right here. This is atmosphere
taking
blocking
baby
your
steps.
view. You're not that dumb.
We're taking baby
We see
steps
it.
with
We see it
little
all.
Ed
We
here.
see it.
Little Ed's come in and he's trying to tell us what the horizon is and where this red line is and say that that's the horizon.
And
we're
how would you
explaining to
determine
him-
the horizon in the 30 feet vision?
And we are explaining to him that that isn't the definition of where your horizon is.
But you're
Your
not
horizon,
explaining anything.
the horizon is where the ground appears to meet the sky. Now, if you're in fog and you can only see for 30 feet where the horizon is, which is where the ground
Let's see that
appears to meet
picture.
the sky, you would be looking down.
So we're talking about a different picture, Ranty. You want to escape from
No,
this one?
no, we can stay on this one because this is the same thing.
But you
The
can't.
reason-
But Randy, you said we can't determine the
Why?
horizon in this picture. So how can you determine it in the 30 feet distance?
Ed, what's
scenario?
your problem with interrupting people?
That's what you've been doing the whole time, buddy.
No, I'm speaking and I'm still speaking and I keep getting cut off. It's
Yeah,
like I get
actually,
to the
I
point-
was speaking and you interrupted me, and you're going on for over 3 minutes now. So can I just interject then? Because
Well,
you're
it's-
going on forever.
It's your show, Brandon. I'll let you deal with it.
Ed, just answer Ranty's question. Go ahead, Ranty. Say the question again, and then Ed, you can say whatever you want.
Well, it wasn't a question. I was just trying to educate the guy about the different, the thought experiment with the fog and what you're seeing in this. And clearly, every single time I get to the point of I've explained the fog, I would then move on to this point, and he interrupts me. And it seems like it's a. I mean, this is why I don't host this show anymore.
He's playing
because you get
dumb, and he's
people
obfuscating.
coming in like this. Yeah, I mean, it's just.
Yeah,
this
that's
is
why
what
I won't
stresses
debate the
me.
guy.
Why are you
That's why
playing
we're
dumb,
winning.
Ed?
So can I ask my question then?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Ranty, you're saying we can't determine the horizon in this picture because we can't see what's going on there. Things get blurry and whatever. So if you, I'm not finished. Hold on. So if you're in the fog and you can only see 30 feet in front of you, how can you determine the horizon then? Because there's not like a line that you would see in a clear day. There's still fog and things disappear in a gradient. So where's this horizon then? How can you determine it there and not in this picture?
That is one of the dumbest questions I've ever heard, Ed.
Yeah.
You can't see the horizon in this picture, period.
Then how can you see it in the 30 feet fog
I don't
vision?
give a
If
shit
things
about the
disappear
30
in a
feet.
gradient.
You
No,
can't
I asked
see it in this
Ranty because
picture.
it was his
He's
example.
undeafened. He's gone. You have to deal with
All
us.
Right, well then answer it.
I just did. I don't care about the 30 feet. You can't see a horizon in this picture. You have to imagine one.
No, you don't. You can see it going from dark to light.
All right.
It's visible. It's obvious where the horizon is in this picture.
Where's the horizon, Jose?
Roughly where the line is. A little bit higher, a little bit lower. Maybe a millimeter, an inch, or whatever you want to put it.
That's where you imagine the horizon is.
It's obvious. You can see
It is not obvious. No, this is.
Yep, take the lines. Show me the raw picture without that line, and I'll tell you what the horizon is. It's going to be exactly where the line is.
Hold on. You need one without a line in order to say where the horizon is?
Oh, he's going to be right there. He's going to be right there. Where the sky appeared to meet the ground. He's going to be roughly there, exactly in the same point.
How do you know? How do you even know how far away that is, Jose? How do you know that's the right place for the horizon? Here, this is a better picture.
I see it.
Where's the horizon?
Well, how am I gonna point it to you if I cannot share it? I'll share it right here.
Hold on.
All right, I got
okay.
it right here.
Okay.
I got the raw picture from share my screen. Is this tab? This is the image that Ed shared with me without the line, and the horizon should be roughly around here. I can see it clearly. You see my mouse?
No, that's not the horizon.
Yep. I see
No,
it.
that's where you imagine the horizon is.
It's not imagining. It's obvious.
It is definitely imagining it. How far away is that?
It's roughly-
how far away is
roughly
that,
right
Jose?
here.
How far away is that horizon right there that you what you think of those is the horizon?
Far.
Well, how come we don't
It's roughly
see
right
any
here.
Earth curve before that horizon? Why does it look like it's a flat plane up until that what you're calling the horizon?
I don't care. That will be a different topic.
Well,
I'm talking
I
about
think if you're
the
going
lines
to say
converging
that
to
there's a
point.
geometric edge that starts at that fog bank
I
right
didn't
there,
mention geometric edge. No, I said the apparent horizon is right here.
apparent
And
horizon,
the antecedent,
but not,
the
it's
antecedent
not
to an
a
apparent.
geographic
Okay.
or geometric
So can I
horizon,
say my
correct?
sentence then? You asked me a question and I wasn't done yet. You just interrupted me. The antecedent for an apparent horizon is just the geometric horizon, which is roughly around here.
That is so
And we were
stupid.
talking about the convergence lines that is just following the contour of the Earth. You can draw it. You can do 1,000 of these lines. It will be converging to a point. This is what in a flat Earth the horizon should be, and it's definitely not there unless it's a magical horizon because all this is sky, some kind of a cloud bank. You know, I give you that the horizon is right here. This is the highest I'm gonna give it to you. That's it. You
know
got
what?
a problem right here.
Hey, Brandon, if there's any way that you could mess with the levels, you know, if we had a shot of the same horizon with no filter and then an infrared that was going to cut through the haze, you're going to see the land extended into the distance. The shot without the filter, you're going to have limited
I would
visibility.
love to see land where you appear to be a sky right here. I would love to see something down there.
Jose, where did you hear that the necessary antecedent for an apparent horizon was a geometric curve? Who told you that?
I don't know. It's obvious.
No, where'd you made that up or?
No. I heard that somewhere, and it's beautifully explained.
That's not correct though.
Why is it not correct?
Why don't you explain it
It
to
is.
us, Jose?
It has to be.
Jose, I don't understand what you mean. So can you explain what that means? What does it mean?
I cannot just see an apparent bench in front of me and say, yeah, there appears to be a bench right there. So it has to be a bench. It might be a little to the left, a little to the right because my eyes need glasses. So I might not see in the bench in the right position because it's a little blurred.
Why are you talking
but I
about
know
benches?
there is a bench.
Why are you
It's
talking
exactly like
about
the
benches?
horizon. Exactly like the horizon.
No. Stick to your statement when you said the necessary antecedent to an apparent horizon is a geometrical horizon.
The
I
antecedent
don't
for
understand
anything
what that means.
apparent is a physical thing of itself. Thank you.
So in order for there to be a horizon, you need land.
Yeah, that's all
And
you're
sky.
saying. That's
You
the
need land and
stupidest thing.
sky.
Yeah.
Well, in order for there to be a geometric horizon somewhere in there, you would expect to see some kind of curving of the Earth right here. This looks like it just goes flat straight into that cloud bank or whatever it is. Atmosphere. Convergence. This doesn't look like you're looking down at a ball, first of all, so it doesn't pass the sniff test. Second, you can't see a horizon in this picture, so you don't know where it is. You're just asserting
you're ready
that
to
the
change all the
horizon
laws
is
of
within.
physics
Now
and
you're cutting me
perspective?
off. Now you're cutting me off. You're just
You're ready to
asserting
change all
that
the laws of
you're cutting me off
perspective
again. Now you're asserting that there is a horizon in there, but you don't know. You're just talking out your ass.
So you are ready to change all the laws of perspective because these conform with perspective. Lines converging, following the contour to a point, but the horizon is a lot lower. But you are willing to change the laws of perspective.
Who said
due
anything
to-
that I was
you
willing
want
to change the
change
laws of perspective, Jose?
Yeah, Jose.
When did I
Jose,
ever say
why?
that doesn't conform to the laws of perspective? You don't know that the horizon's not up here. You can't see past this point.
Right, exactly.
Sorry, I was
Yeah.
tall off. I was talking loud.
I think I wasn't going
tall off
straight.
earlier.
So anyway,
Right,
this is a pretty dumb conversation. If anybody else wants to get a word in here on this, go ahead.
Could I?
Oh, you're cutting out.
Could I get a word in?
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Right. Okay. So the last thing I want to say on this is, and this is pretty obvious, is that this is obviously taken from the cabin of the plane, right? So he's in the window and he's looking out. Now, can you look to the left-hand side in the top corner? You can see the wing of the plane, right? Or something of the plane. It might be the back end of the plane or something. There's something there, yeah? Now, that is higher than where he's taking the camera from. Would you agree?
Yes.
Right, okay. So if that is higher, yet the end point of where this these parallel lines intersect is at the same height as the height of the wing, right? Would that not prove that we're looking up rather than looking straight ahead?
I don't know about that.
If we are sitting in a plane and you've got the plane wing in the top left-hand corner, and you have to look up to that, so you know that you have to look up to get to that angle, right? You have to look up to that, right? And then you just follow that line across, and you can see that there's where the convergence point is.
Well, I think the camera is lower than the wing. But I think the wing, because of perspective, is dipping down to about what appears to be eye level to me. Like, I think eye level is somewhere above that white bank. But it's hard to tell. I mean, the plane could be tilted. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if the plane's tilted or not. The simple fact is that these lines intersect at a point where the point is at the same elevation as the wing, right? And the simple fact is that the wing you have to look up at. You have to look up at. So if you're looking up at from the plane inside the cockpit or wherever you're looking, taking this image from, you're looking up to the wing, and you're also looking up to the convergence point. You have to be looking up. It's not level.
Well, I think the camera's looking out the window down at the Earth.
Always.
I think they're looking out downwards towards the Earth.
Where the convergence point is where the horizon have to be if the Earth is flat. 100%
If the so let me finish. So if the horizon is where Jose says it is, that you would have to be looking above you, right, Jose?
Ask me that again. Sorry.
So according to you, then, if you follow these lines, you're saying that it would have to be higher than you. The horizon would have to be higher than you, prospectively.
If Earth was flat on the convergence point, that's what the horizon should be.
Well, higher than you.
It just doesn't add up because it's not flat. That's why you want it to be flat, so the horizon have to be in the convergence point, but it's not, Ranty. That's why you're not seeing.
The wing in the top left-hand corner gives the game away. The fact that the wing is higher than the camera.
The plane could be tilting, could be going sideways.
That makes no difference.
It does.
The plane
so
could
if the
be
plane
upside down.
is turning left, I will not even see the wing. I will still see the land.
It wouldn't make a difference. It wouldn't make any difference whatsoever.
Yes, it would. Yes,
You have two frames of reference. You have the frame of reference from inside the plane, and you have the wing. So you have those 2 points.
Is the plane turning?
Hold on.
The plane turning. Left
Hold
or
on.
right?
Can I get a word in, please? So they are fixed positions. The wings are fixed position. The camera's a fixed position. It doesn't matter if you're banking, turning upside down, doing the barrel roll, anything. It doesn't loop the loop. It doesn't really matter. Where you've placed the horizon is higher because, in perspective, if you look, it's the same height as the wing. You've placed it higher than the midpoint of the camera, which means that you have prospectively put the horizon at a higher elevation than it should be. And I asked you the question. I said, well, where would it be on a flat plane then? And you've just said that the horizon should be higher than the person. No.
No, what I say is the horizon on a flat Earth always have to be in the convergence point. And what you just say makes no sense because
why would the convergence point be higher?
You spoke for a very long minute. I spoke for 3 seconds. I was interrupted. So what you're saying is, think about this. It doesn't matter if the plane is turning left or right, it's doing a loop-de-loop, then the Earth and all the land will go around the plane that will always be on view on the window. Ranty, that's the most ridiculous thing I heard.
No. It's the arbitrary place that you've placed the horizon in is the same height as the wing. It doesn't matter where what the plane's doing. It could be turned upside down. It could be facing the ground for all we care. The wing could be facing the ground. Where you've put that horizon line is the same height as the wing, right? And because you've got two positions, Because
it
you've got.
matters if the plane is turning
Can I
or not,
finish?
where the plane is pointing at. It matters.
I give up. I give up. I can't get. I can't
It
even.
matters where the plane is pointing at.
Hey, Jose,
You're
could you
talking
let
about
him
the wing
finish?
as a
Could you
reference
let him
point,
finish,
but
Jose?
it's in
Could
a
you let him
reference if
finish,
the
Jose?
plane
Could you let him
is
finish,
just
Jose?
flying-
Could you
it's
let him
just
finish,
flying
Jose? Could you let him finish,
just
Jose?
chilling.
Jose, could you let him finish, please? Go ahead, Ranty. He's
Ranty,
done.
you're just wrong in this one. He's just wrong in this one. He implies that the wing is just the reference point where you got to throw
If
the
he's
horizon
wrong,
receiver
why are
above
you
or
so
below.
scared to let him talk?
I'm not scared.
If
I'm
he's
just
wrong,
stopping
well,
him
you
from
will
doing this
not
very dumb
stop
mistake.
talking.
I just gotta stop him to making a fool of himself like that. He's smarter than that, man.
All right, we're gonna go
You
into.
don't need to do that.
We're gonna go into final thoughts here, but let me say one last thing about this. I'll let other people have last thoughts about this picture. I'll just get my final thoughts. That's what we'll do. So there is no determining where the horizon is in this photo. You cannot see past a certain point. That atmosphere is too dense. It's too condensed of an area visually to see anything. The horizon very well may be up here where this tip is of this drawing that he's made on here with the green lines. We don't know. That wouldn't surprise me. But you cannot see past this white bank here, which is it's atmosphere. So that's my final thoughts. Thanks everybody for joining the panel, and we'll go to Allie B next. Allie? No? Travis?
Yeah, just, simply when we're looking over distance, either aquatic or terrestrial, and we're not dealing with high mountain ranges, so that we just have the extension of the land apparently meeting the sky. When we see the extension of the land stop, I'd like you to just, or the water, if you're looking over the ocean or over a big lake, and the water stops. The question becomes, what is causing that apparent limit of the water extending into the distance? It is always going to be the result of the conditions of the medium, affectionately known as the ether band. Everybody drink.
Thanks, Travis. Ed.
Page or hot miking. But anyway, I think you can see the horizon clearly in the picture when the dark land area goes to light, which is only the atmosphere. Well, I guess we'll talk about this another time. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Ed. Global virus foe.
Yeah, I think this is a good show as usual, and I agree that there's no way you can tell where exactly the horizon is. It's just not visible with that kind of a atmospheric condition. But the one thing, weirdly, it kind of, I don't know, maybe it's just the way my eyes are. I wish I might try to figure out how to copy this picture and then do some drawing some lines on it myself. But I swear it looks like on the left side of those red boxes that you had drawn previously, if you make those perspective lines converge, they converge at a different point than the ones the person who drew the green and white lines drew. So I don't know. I think their perspective lines might be a little bit off, but maybe that's just my eyes. So just something to think about.
Yeah, these ones I didn't slant at all. I just drew to show the area. But
I know you didn't. I was talking about the green and the white ones. The way they slanted, I think they did it incorrectly, but
okay.
It could just be mine.
I'll drop you a copy of that picture. I rock well. Thanks, Global Virus Foe. I rock well. Kid Motorbike.
I came in late. Nothing to say other than it was a good show. Thank you. And I concede the rest of my time to Paige.
Thank you. Paige, you got extra time.
Yeah, great show. Don't really have much to say. Today was pretty normal, wasn't it? Rumpus coming in, Rumpus, and Jose gets triggered, so normal day.
Thanks, Paige. Rakia.
No comment.
All right. Thanks, Rakia. Rob.
Sorry, no.
No comment. Okay. Essie. Bob Dole. Oh, that's it. Okay. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. I'll be back. I'm going to record the after show, whatever goes on. And yeah. Thank you. Okay. Well, I was kind of tired tonight. I was a little off my game, so I apologize if I was a little off tonight, but it was a good show. Some good arguments. Ranty and Rumpus obviously feel very strongly about the issue regarding a Mirage blocking things. And I think those guys are just trying to pinpoint a horizon that isn't there. You're not going to see it. I think that's the problem. The big gambit with these sort of photos, including Mage 2 from Mr. Sensible. Seems obvious to me, but maybe I'm missing something. But anyway, everybody have a good night. We'll talk to you tomorrow, Friday night, 5:05 Eastern Standard Time. I may be starting the show off with a simulcast, going over to discuss Mage 2 and other things with Mr. Sensible. So that might be interesting. And if not, we'll see what comes up. So thank you. Thanks for anybody who supported the show, and have a good night.